Dumb question. What's our content rating? PG, PG-13. No S required. Blah blah blah.
Let's try to keep it PG-13. Look, I'm not monetized, so I'm not like really like.
Oh yes, yeah. You're rolling in tons and tons of imaginary money.
I am rolling on unemployment and under the table DJ pay.
You'll appreciate this. Google after we leave. Google Hot Pockets for Mitch.
Hot Pockets for Mitch.
For Mitch.
Hang on, guys.
So there was a thing up to last week that you could buy a box of Hot Pockets, and they had a QR code on the bottom that if you scanned it with your phone, you would get bids on Twitch.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's weird.
Somebody figured out that if you buy the big 12-pack from Costco, you would get $25 worth of bids. That box is $14.
And guess what? Yeah, it's $15. You're basically doing a $10 profit, and you get to have constipation for an entire week.
Fun.
Oh, jeez.
There was a dude that bought 100 boxes of that shit.
And then didn't take one for two.
But
don't worry, he was selfless about it. He gave it to charity.
Yeah, actually, no, well, that's what the rumor said.
All right, guys, I'm making a post on my Facebook page, which will have the stream, okay?
Hey, send me a link send me that exact post, and I'll share it on mine too.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm having a minor issue with my computer.
Set on fire.
Hammer.
Oh, can I make a shameless plug for the company I'm doing work with?
Can you do what?
Can I make a shame? Oh, is today your birthday, Aaron?
Yes, today's my birthday.
Oh yeah, I forgot that.
Thank you. Yes, everyone will have a chance to plug their things.
Cool.
At the start of the cast, when we get on the top, I'll open it up for everyone to introduce themselves and plug away everything you want to do or want to plug.
Oh, we're trying to keep it PG-13.
Oh, right on.
Prox.
I'll go
Does
work
that
out
mean I can't say I give 0 fucks?
I haven't started. We have 3 minutes. How long do you think this process takes?
Look away, children.
Hold on, I'm just getting the thing set up.
Did you post it into the chat on this side or no? No. Okay. Because why is this being such a pain in the butt?
I'm having a weird delay on my computer, so stand by.
Yep.
I will post the link on the Google chat in a hot minute.
I am messaging my friend who I do podcast stuff with to see if it's cool that I plug our podcast network or his podcast network. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Be like, no one can know.
You may not spread
This
our
is
things.
the secret podcast.
I
Must do the handshake.
So the podcast.
The only people allowed to listen are in my head.
This is
So
a
the
good
podcast network is called
Hey.
Imaginoids.
Imaginoids.
It's
Good.
That
Dude,
was-
it's okay.
I'm sorry, my bad.
I'm on Google. I sent you a link on Facebook.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
All right. All right. I got one more person coming in on the chat right now.
Sorry about that.
Hey Aaron, I don't know if you're aware, but the stream is live, and I think the audio videos coming through on YouTube.
knows now.
God damn it.
All right, we are officially live. Hello, and welcome to Review the Year 2020 at Home Edition. I am Aaron Pabone. I usually do this panel at conventions every year, but can't really do that this year without the possibility of getting exposed to something, and I don't like being exposed to anything, if at all possible. To be completely honest, it's been a really weird year for all, and a lot of people have said, what in pop culture could you possibly review? And believe it or not, there is a lot to review in pop culture. Now, since I can't do this at a convention, I decided I'm going to do this as a live stream, and I invited a bunch of my friends who I've either gone to conventions with, or they're just awesome people in general, or have worked at conventions, or have done online things. And I'm going to have them introduce themselves and plug every possible thing in the world that they want to plug, starting with Phil and Heather.
Hey!
Hey guys.
So, my name is Michael, but I go by Phil Bunny online because I used to do a puppet review show back when it was okay to try to be on Channel Awesome. Everyone remember those times? Okay.
Oh yeah,
That was a while ago.
way back.
And then I've transitioned since the controversy happened to doing more live streamy stuff. And then my mom started playing Fortnite with me, so that's a lot of content's being mined out of that currently. So Heather and I eat weird crap sometimes.
Yeah, I'm Heather and I help eat.
Yeah, Heather Helpy. And we watch stuff and we have opinions and then we like to spew them out, and this is a chance to do that. And I back up my things with sources. I don't. And then you can find us at YouTube/Bunny Perspective.
Awesome. All right, next up we got Reed and all of his friends from one of my favorite podcasts. It's one of the only podcasts I like, and that's only because I'm part of the podcast. Occasionally, when we talk about Star Wars movies, spoiler alert, that's only happened 4 times.
It's
Anime-
only been time.
Anime fans against anime. Reed, take it away.
Yeah, so our podcast is, as the name would suggest, we watch anime that we've never seen before, and we make jokes about it, basically, going through the plot, and talk about anything that seems interesting to us. It consists of me, and Michael, and Richard, who are here as well, if they want to say hi.
Hello. I don't want to say hi.
Richard doesn't want to say hi.
Say hello.
But yeah, Aaron has been a guest several times before, and hopefully many times in the future as well, right, Aaron?
Hopefully. I mean, I'm waiting for more Star Wars movies to come out, and it looks like it's going to happen. So,
There's a lot more Star Wars coming.
all right. Next, we got an old friend of mine, Nick Stevens. Nick, how you doing?
Good, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Nick, you're with which comedy group are you working with now?
Right now, I'm not doing anything in comedy because of the pandemic. The last thing I did was with Just So Funny out of Miami, and I'm involved with a podcast network called Imaginoise, and we have a bunch of really cool stuff coming down the pipe soon.
Cool. All right. Next, we got Brian. Brian is an old friend of mine. Usually, he gets involved in a lot of my shenanigans, a lot of my stand-up. He can back up many of those stories. So maybe
I know where the bodies are buried.
Thank you, Brian. So Brian is going to have content eventually in the future, and whenever he does, I will certainly plug it.
I'm hoping to, at least once I get this infernal machine to work.
Okay.
20 years, Brian, that we've known each other?
Collectively?
It's almost dangerous. Don't date me that hard.
What if I want to date you that hard?
It would be a carbon 14 kind of date.
What if I want to fig Newton you? No.
That would be a far fig Newton because you're in a different state.
Fair.
So we're only 5 minutes into the stream, and it's gone nothing like I thought it would. And last but certainly not least, we got one of my best friends on the stream, Ben Torrens, who works with a couple of conventions in Miami, MizuCon and Anime EY.
Yeah. Hi guys, I'm Ben Torrens. I'm so happy to be here. Aaron's been
big brother mentor, got me out of plenty of trouble, got me into some of it, but not that I wouldn't have wanted to be in the first place. But like you said, I wouldn't be in cons if it wasn't for him, and so much so, I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Oh, that's not why, it's a great thing. I love you, Aaron. But yeah, I work at I'm actually the community director for MizuCon, also community outreach, as well as assistant con director for Anime EY. I also do community outreach at the anime conventions in Cuba, just to throw it out there. And yeah, but honestly, I wouldn't pick any other place to be right now to celebrate Aaron's birthday. Happy birthday, Aaron!
Thank you. I did not want that to be the main part of the stream, but I'll be humble and thank you all nonetheless.
Also, disembodied voice.
My wife is also joining me in this cast every once in a while. I mean, if you have an opinion on something, you're my wife. You have lots of opinions on things.
I do.
Okay, so my wife, Christina, ladies and gentlemen. Not pictured here is our newborn. Where is she? Is she downstairs?
Grandma's got her.
Grandma's got her. All right, she might pop in later. We'll see. We might make her official online debut.
She's asleep.
Oh no. Okay, yeah, no. I miss sleep, ladies and gentlemen. So, all right. So the way this panel works usually at conventions, and it will work the same way here for this stream, is usually we go over a bunch of things that happened in pop culture this past year. And yes, there was a pandemic, but pop culture still happened. We had TV shows that went on the air and TV shows that went off the air. We had some movies that did release this year, not the big blockbuster ones we were all hoping for. A lot of them got delayed, but some did show up nonetheless. And we also have a few video games. And this year we got some new video game consoles and one cool video game peripheral that I kind of want to bring up. But I'm not going to be just the one who reviews them. Everyone here in this panel will review them in some way, shape, or form. And we're going to make a collective choice. If we think the item of pop culture is an absolute win, then we will grade it as a win. Might even be an epic win. If it's so bad we didn't like it, it'll probably be a fail or an epic fail. And if it was just somewhere between that happened, it's there, it happened in pop culture, there's not much we can do about that, now it is there. Alright, we are going to start with, I think I'm frozen. But is my audio still going through?
The audio's still beautiful. Yeah, actually, the audio's really crisp.
Just my video, but my face is frozen. Okay, that's still fine. Damn, I was doing.
The back of your head looks really nice.
I was doing so good too.
It's like your hair has culottes.
Oh.
It did freeze in a good spot. Like, you and Christina looked perfect.
It's an action shot.
Oh.
It is a good action shot.
Oh no, but it looks like my Google lost connection. I really hope it did. Not in the middle of this cast. Oh no.
It's not a stream without a bunch of problems, don't worry.
Alright, well, we're still gonna give it a shot as we can. We're gonna keep trying. We're gonna start with TV shows that actually came out this year. So we actually got 2 Star Trek shows that premiered this year. Star Trek Picard and Star Trek The Lower Decks. Star Trek Picard is a sequel to the original Next Generation series and the Next Generation movies. It involves Captain Picard in his latest adventures involving artificial intelligence and other weird Star Trek things that are all around weird Star Trek, but also a little bit off the beaten path of traditional Star Trek. But then we also got The Lower Decks, the second ever animated Star Trek series to premiere. A lot of people are saying it's a lot like The Orville, which is weird because The Orville is, in my opinion, a little bit better than Star Trek. But I'm going to let... Oh no, did I lose everybody? We're gonna take a quick pause for a hot second. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna do a quick pause on this stream, and we'll be right back. 2. All right, and we're live again. Sorry for the technical delays. That's what we get for not using Zoom. Oops.
No
I
judgment.
forgot the password.
Oh, yes. Hi, it's my birthday. That's my password. All right. So, again, we are going to be reviewing a lot of different things in pop culture this year. We're going to start with TV shows. The first two we were going to talk about was Star Trek Picard and Star Trek The Lower Decks. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to my panel to talk about.
You know, I gotta say, I do like that they went with Picard, just because, I mean, let's be honest, I think we're at the point where William Shatner just is not what people think of as the captain anymore. They think of Picard. I would say it was a little weird, because you also have Star Trek Discovery, but I think that this was definitely a good time to be like, hey, here's your nostalgia. Just enjoy yourselves, guys. Here's your awesome, Professor X as a spaceship captain. Who's gonna complain about that?
Me,
I just didn't feel like it was very TNG-y.
Yeah, I just wanted them to make more TNG. Red Letter Media went through a bunch of things that they could have done stories about, including an alien race that was replicating artificial wine that he was competing with, and he had to uncover it. And Red Letter Media's little ideas were so much better than anything that they were ever going to put on Picard, because Picard was servicing not who Picard's fan base was, because Picard is a big dumb action thing with stakes, I guess, and there's a mystery box, which it's a person, and
I also couldn't get over the sound mixing.
the sound mixing is
The
horrendous.
mixing was horrible.
But wasn't it like shoehorned race relations?
Yes.
Yeah.
It didn't make, and if you want to really get into it, it doesn't make any sense for Star Trek-y stuff either. And then doesn't someone say fuck for no reason?
Fucking you.
Well, yeah, and they said it to Picard.
I wanted him to compete against an alien for wine contests in his vineyard. How hard is that? You could
I would watch that show.
Even with the action scenes, you could have had it be like Ransom of Red Chief, and he's in there like spiking their wines.
Why is Data just not in it if he's in it? Like, Brent Spiner's all over it. You could de-age him. Like, but why is he just in it? He's a fucking robot.
His name is Dave.
Brent Spiner haven't aged in anything ever.
But, no, true. But you could also de-age him, which would also make it...
Or make him look a little more craggly.
I
will say the fact that Star Trek needs to have, because I saw a little bit of Picard and was like, cool, I remember him. Reminds himself he's a Star Wars fan. I'm like, cool, I've had enough exploring for half an hour. I'm gonna go watch something with laser swords, and then I want to watch the last season of Clone Wars. We're gonna go off on the TV shows. Talk about Disney really trying to go to town, because, hey man, Kathleen Kennedy's sequel trilogy just did not make the money it did Dave Filoni. Ooh, he's got Star Wars by the balls.
I mean, it didn't help that they also made 2 spin-off ones that were pretty bad, and that Han Solo movie is really bad. Yeah.
It's sad.
I
because
did
it was
kind
a
of
fun
like
movie.
Rogue One, though.
Oh, I loved Rogue One. I don't know why they
Rogue One
made Rogue One. It's a military movie. It was a fun military rom.
All right, so I gotta pull.
I'm actually.
I have to pull the moderator card here before this becomes a Star Wars, Star Trek debate.
But I do want to. I'd rather talk about Lower Decks, because I think Lower Decks did what Picard.
Lower Decks are cool.
Yeah.
I like Lower Decks a lot.
Yeah, Lower Decks. We only saw a handful of episodes, but automatically we thought that was probably the better Star Trek show.
Yes, but I do have to say, as actually a Trekkie, I say as I am wearing my Star Wars shirt.
Where?
I feel like the difference and the reason why most people prefer, I'll say, older Trek to newer Trek, is they had a distinct format change. Older Trek, you had a theme to each show. For example, Voyager, they were trying to get home. But each episode was unique to its own self, minus like a 2-parter here and there. Whereas Discovery and Picard... Oh no, we lost network connection again.
Are people still there?
No, I mean...
Jeez, this is getting out of hand. Sorry guys, we're going to have to put a pause on the stream while I try to make sure we are still connected. So, stand by again. Should have made commercial breaks for this if I knew this was going to be a problem.
We agreed with you. You got cut off about right in the middle of that point.
Yeah.
So
We're back again, and my wife was bringing up a very interesting point how old Trek and new Trek are very different.
right. So Voyager, for example, the overall theme of the show was they had to get home.
You got cut off about right in the middle of that point.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
We're back again, and
oh boy. Echo.
We're going live. We're going live.
Yeah.
we'll do it live.
Each episode had its own story, whereas Discovery and Picard, the whole season is the one story. And in general, I do think that's why a lot of people that are fans of old Trek, it's not that they're bitter and just, don't like the new Trek or whatever. It's literally, it's a format change. It is a very different show. And Lower Decks is much closer to each episode being its own thing.
I think what also makes
the background stuff kind of like Voyager, so there's still little strings that hook it together.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What I do like about Lower Decks is I'll be honest with you, I love fan service, and Lower Decks really does play to the fan service. But the interesting thing about the way Lower Decks does it, it's not in your face.
Yeah.
About it.
And like DuckTales, they're hiring a bunch of comedians, so I don't know why people complain about, it looks like Rick and Morty, the great-looking animated show that looks great.
Yeah.
Darn
The
it.
one that has a model, the one that has people with eyeballs on it? Yeah. I don't know.
And it doesn't even look like Rick and Morty. It looks like its own thing. I'm very annoyed with people.
All right.
Anyway,
So,
funniest shit I've ever seen.
with that being said, I think we should try to. All right. What do we give Star Trek Picard? Who all thinks it's a win?
Give it a fail.
I think it's fair.
Give it an epic fail. Like I said, I think it serves the wrong audience. They should have made it more like its own episodic little thing, and not this big grand thing. Because Discovery can have people dislike it, and it's fine because it's its own thing. But when you make Picard Discovery, I don't think you're making them like Discovery. I think you're making them hate Discovery more because you made Picard Discovery and they didn't like it in the first place. So I think it's a fail.
What does everyone else
That's a
think?
good argument.
From a completely sideways perspective, I'm still tickled by the idea of seeing Patrick Stewart do his own stunts. So it's like, hold on while we throw an 80-year-old out of a window and have him crash on a mattress. So I'm kind of tickled at the idea of that possibly happening.
I mean, I also enjoy the casual elder abuse.
That's the Expendables, guys. I mean, sorry.
I personally, actually, I liked the story that they were going for. I hate that it was supposed to be a Star Trek show instead of just making it into a movie. But,
Sure.
Given the actual storyline, I feel like it's there. It's like they definitely could have done a lot better, but I don't think it was a fail just because they got the right cast, the right effects, they got the right storyline. They just executed it poorly.
So that's like
It's
a
there.
middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's there.
That's right.
All right, so I think our final verdict is going to be that Star Trek Picard was officially there. But it looks like for Star Trek Lower Decks, I think we're all on the same page that was a win.
That was a win.
That was a win.
The win. So aside from CBS Plus, how else?
Yeah, well, yeah. You're right. Aside from it being on CBS Plus.
Yeah, okay. I mean, on that note, CBS All Access, that's a fail in my book.
Right. So,
The entire
So-
There's like, hey, we're CBS. You want to stream us, right? Like Netflix, you got Star Trek and
Star Trek.
Star Trek. Star Trek.
Should be on there.
Oh, you forgot Star Trek.
Could you imagine being CBS and thinking like, oh, we can do Disney Plus, and then realizing, oh God, we could not do Disney Plus. Like, someone in that board of directors got canned.
Yeah, there's a meme for that.
HBO waited and it still has a trash player. I mean, I
I
don't know.
like HBO. I like HBO Max. I'm not gonna lie.
I like it. I like its programming.
Oh wait, guys. Since we're talking about TV shows, I did forget about something. Quibi happened this year. Anyway,
Quibi didn't.
And then
So
Quibi-
my question to you is this: what's a Quibi, and why do I give a shit?
okay, so I know some people are probably going to ask me about this later on. Yeah, there were TV shows that showed up on Quibi. A TV show needs to be longer than a YouTube video
Yeah.
to be on this list, in my opinion.
The only thing that would work in that was Reno 911, and I think it's probably gonna just get moved to like Netflix or something if those guys want to keep making it.
Maybe Comedy Central will recover a little bit to be able to grab it again.
Or maybe,
I don't think so.
or maybe I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe Comedy Central could, I don't know, give Dave Chappelle the money that they actually should pay him.
Okay, hey, by the way, Ben, I made it very clear we're not talking about politics on this thing. So,
Oh no, it wasn't. I didn't mean it was politics. So it was on. So it's not
No.
politics.
I was joking.
We know about
We were-
Chappelle,
we know
Ben.
about Chappelle. We were joking, Ben. We were joking. All right.
Oh,
Um,
I was worried for a second.
Let's power through a couple more shows. Okay, so here's one that I know we're gonna get a lot of very interesting conversation with. So last year they made an announcement that this animated show was coming out, and a lot of people hated that it was coming out. And then it came out, and then it got canceled that same year. And a lot of us who are fans of the old show,
What was it, Aaron?
Thundercats Roar.
Oh God.
Oh, wow, I didn't even.
My camera tried to jump off the screen just because it knew you were going in that direction.
We watched a couple of episodes of it.
Was it?
I believe that
What?
Brian said that he has some opinion on this on the pre-show. I would like to hear those opinions.
Yeah, Brian had some really interesting stuff about this.
Okay. The terrible part is, for people who show up and come into this sight unseen, they are getting the absolute back end of the worst animal that they're looking at when you're looking back at the gold mine that the 2012 version of Thundercats was, when you're going even back to the original 87 version that it was. And it's just, not only is it bad, but it's vindictive, and that's what hurts so bad, because they're sitting there and they're spitting on the property. If anybody watched episode 11, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm on the
But
same
I
camp
really
as
doubt
that.
that anyone even had the stomach to go to episode 7. So
Yeah, I watched the first episode and I tried to convince myself, like, look, I know this is going to be for kids, but even then, come on, you could have pandered it a little bit better.
Yeah.
I wanted to like this because that animated sequence that everyone hated so much looked really great, and I thought the show was gonna be that more like, and then maybe the humor could have leaned more like Gurren Lagann, which is kind of like over the top machismo. And then I don't know, I hated every character.
Fell apart like a plant in a cupboard.
Hated every character. Didn't like a single one of them. And also, I really saw how much it was trying to be Teen Titans Go.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, Teen Titans Go is actually good. That's the problem with you. Like, I can defend it really hard. I actually think it's fine. It's just on too much.
Yes.
I mean, I'll say for me, it's honestly hit and miss. There are some good, some that just they take up space.
It's for kids. Some of them are like that.
Yeah, but so was the
Some of
original
them feature
Thundercats. The original
entire
Thundercats was for kids, and it was better.
I gotta say,
Hold on. I know Brian here will agree with me, but Naked Chikara episode 1, not necessarily for kids.
Yeah.
It was the 80s. There was a lot of things going on in the 80s. A lot of people weren't even paying attention.
The animated sequence from the 80s one is still one of the best.
Oh,
things.
Way better.
Classic.
So
What I was gonna say is that I think the sad thing with Thundercats lore, and I do agree that yes, he's trying to rip off Teen Titans Go. It just, I think it's really a scary testament to the fact that just because you think you have a franchise, because here's the weird thing, that was the second reboot, and the first reboot was like an Avatar: The Last Airbender kind of Thundercats.
And it was amazing.
Here's the weird thing, everybody's told me it's amazing now, but when it came out, I completely didn't even notice it. And now it's almost like they thought to themselves, oh, we gave them what we thought they would want, but we were wrong, or honestly, it just probably was bad marketing. And now they were just like, oh, let's just go with the fads and eventually see what hits. And
I mean, rumor mill was that because Bandai was mad about the lack of success with the Toyland, that's why they pulled the ripcord entirely. But that's still kind of up for debate.
I mean, kids still play with toys, but kids have way more to pick from than action figures. So I think it's kind of at that point where what it is to be a kid nowadays is as much about having a tablet and video games as much as, and at the same time still a bicycle and action figures, but there's just so much more option that whoever must have said, oh, we can base a toy line off of this, and it's like, what, 2000? When did that second series come out? Like 2012?
2012, yeah.
2012, and they were like, and I'll be honest, that was already a time where kids were grabbing at their parents' cell phones and being like, oh, I can play games on this.
I was already on my second iPad.
Yeah, if you were a kid and you saw that, be like, cool, but you have Avatar: The Last Airbender to pick from. You had Adventure Time. You had all of these great shows. Why would a kid want to be invested in nostalgia for a show that, I mean, I guess maybe they were aiming for the parents, but I didn't.
I don't know what Teen Titans Roar was for.
Then they should have put it on Adult Swim if that's what they were going for.
They should have the old style.
I think we can all agree that the best way to handle a classic franchise is to aggressively undermine everything it stands for in an attempt to draw in a wider audience. I think that's a tried and true method.
I think that working with Teen Titans Go is made them think that would work with. But legitimately, Teen Titans Go has some of the best written jokes in it.
It does, and I'm the last person to admit it that I do not like Teen Titans Go, but the jokes land pretty good. I will say that. And because I'm gonna move on, but because of the fact that we are now praising Teen Titans Go because of this show, this is Thundercats Go is a fail. I think we can say across the board, right?
It's probably the most epic fail I would say out of everything.
Oh yeah.
I think it's the worst thing. It was Cartoon Network, right? It's the worst thing they've done in a while. But again, like all they needed to do was really lean into the art style and go and make really big Adventure Time style battles and make the characters fun.
Yeah.
How hard was that? It's like when you write Superman wrong. I'm like, are you dumb?
Well,
haven't been up to KKK. I think it's easy.
Well, here's the thing. It's like I think what really pissed me off more than anything about not Teen Titans Go, Thundercats Roar. It looked the same. Okay. My issue with it at the end of the day was that the original creator even made it very clear that he wasn't a fan of the original show.
Oh wow.
Like that kind of like really disheartens me.
That
Anyway,
doesn't necessarily mean bad things because the guy who wrote the Flintstones DC comic book, he wrote a hell of a Flintstones
Yeah.
comic book.
no, he
So,
did,
I mean,
but
he-
Are the Flintstones
So-
canon to DC?
Yeah. They're
Yeah.
like the prehistoric New 52. I don't think they can pass New 52 though.
yeah. So
seriously,
yeah,
it's-
minor side note on that. Yeah, if you haven't read the Flintstones comics,
It's so good.
yeah, apparently the Water Buffalo tribe is actually a army PTSD
Yep.
group. And
it's
they
like
go
very-
bowling and they go to meetings and they talk about like the war against the tree people, and it's a whole deep thing. It's really really interesting.
Appliances have conversations that will blow your mind.
Yeah. All right. Let's go on to other stuff that came out this year. This was one that when it came out, it surprised a lot of people. The Amazon. I think it was Amazon. Let me check my notes. Yes, it was the Amazon. Upload.
Yeah.
Starring Robbie Amell. It takes place in the near future. It's very cyberpunky for what it is. Apparently, when you die, you can upload your consciousness into a private heaven-like server. Michael, you said it best. It's essentially The Good Place, but really dark.
I thought you were talking about The Good Place.
No.
No, okay. If you look, it's one of these shows that got a real shit trailer. Because I saw the trailer. It's kind of Future Man got a bad trailer too. My brother's like, "Have you seen Future Man?" I go, "We'll get to that." No. And he's like, "You need to watch it. It's the best thing." And I was like, "The trailer looks bad." Same thing with Upload. The trailer for Upload looks horrible.
Yeah.
The premise looks like a worse Good Place, but it's actually a better Good Place. Because the concept is, you have an option if you're about to die for them to destroy your brain and head and put it into a computer before you die, with the hopes that they can print you a new body. And they're in a server, so you have to understand some things aren't on the server yet. So sometimes an upgrade is just the flavor of salt or steak.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, they play with that, but there's also like, I don't want to spoil too many things, but there's a kid in there that's been a kid for 12 years.
And he wants to upgrade.
And he can't get an older body. So it goes there in interesting sci-fi ways that certain Picard shows don't. So it's really good.
And we're
And
going
so-
full circle on that.
Right?
It's real good. And it ends with a really interesting, it's got a good through line through it. It's got really good characters.
Yeah.
There's a billionaire character that's hilarious.
Yeah.
So anyway, all worth watching if you haven't seen it yet. If you got Prime, watch it. So I don't think there's much discussion because I think no one else has seen it. Am I wrong?
I've seen it.
I saw it. I liked it.
Yeah.
It was kind of a sleeper hit.
Yes.
I think they did confirm a second season, which is surprising for most sleeper hits. But it's honestly the only reason why I watched the show is because the trailer looked interesting, and when I saw the trailer, it was like, oh, Firestorm's on this show. I want to check it out.
No, be honest. You watched it because I'm like, no, we're watching this.
Yeah, it was a pandemic and we were bored.
And
We have
So-
friends
No, I-
that watch things that we wouldn't watch, and then they recommend them to us, and we kind of do the same for those. That's how we found. What was the sketch comedy group with the ghetto D&D?
Oh, that's
The Astronomy Club.
Astronomy Club, yeah.
That show's on Netflix. It's a sketch comedy show. It's freaking amazing. And also, on a side note, on shows that most people hadn't watched, Auntie Donna's Funhouse on Netflix is Auntie Donna's Funhouse.
It's a treasure.
It's amazing. It's 5 episodes. They're all Australian guys. It's produced by Scott Ackerman. That was another one that came out this year. That's a sleeper.
Okay,
Netflix
so
has a lot of sleepers, basically.
so we'll do a quick review on this then. The one you just mentioned, what was that called again?
Auntie Donna's, I want to say it's House of Fun,
Yeah.
but the group is called Auntie Donna's.
Okay,
It's three Australian guys.
so you're calling that one a win.
Yeah, win for sure.
Okay, and we'll also give Upload a win.
Yes.
Enthusiastic win.
Yeah.
Upload was great. It really was. It was surprisingly great. Does your computer just not like my voice? Everyone like,
Hello? Oh, it did it again. Stand by. Internet.
Yeah, and it cuts to the one black guy. Aaron, we're back. I told you I sent so many emails, and he has this big printout, and he's going through printout like this, and they go. I won't spoil it. It's good though. That single image should have been a gift. This is.
All right.
Watch it.
We are.
It's last year's sleeper win.
All right, we're going live again.
What?
All right, I don't know what's going on. Internet's being interesting. We're about 40 something minutes in, and I should have done commercial breaks for all of this, for all these little hiccups we're having on the internet. Anyway, so next up on the list.
Considering the hiccups, we might need to. Oh, come on!
I did not leave the meeting. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep this hiccup live. Yeah, this happened, guys. This just keeps happening. Yay. Let's try that again.
Honestly, you might need to speed roll through some of these because, yeah, it is 8:50.
No. If you want to see Jim
All right,
Carrey
hello?
absolutely choose scenery the
I do.
entire time.
All right.
It's like, I want to see Nicolas Cage in a movie. Yes, I do.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we
Okay,
are.
perfect. All right,
I want
we're
to see it. I want to see it when it's convenient for me to see it. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to go out of my way.
all right.
Oh yeah.
No offense, Sonic the Hedgehog, but
Okay, we are back. We're gonna power through a bunch of the TV shows real quick so we don't
Yes.
lose connection again. I did some minor adjustments that should keep me going, and
your icon's good though, so don't worry about it.
It does look
Sacrificed
perfect.
his body and now exists as a disembodied spirit.
And we've all had a stream where we
Well,
have
we all, it's like,
With a nice beard. That beard on that icon is fire.
It's the same color scheme as Richard's icon. They match.
Why do you have
and it matches that little throbbing vein on the forehead.
I'm glad the plus sign doesn't go all the way down because I'd have to ask questions about what you thought about COVID meant.
all right. So we're gonna power through a couple more TV shows real quick. Muppets Now.
Boo.
Yeah.
Right,
It's
Concept
pretty
for
bad.
execution.
Yeah.
Did anyone actually watch it?
We gave it a
I saw
shot.
some of it. I
Okay,
didn't watch the whole thing.
it ended up being mediocre. And, it's one thing to be good, and it's one thing to be bad. But when you're mediocre, it means it was just so meh that didn't even warrant anyone's attention.
Yeah,
It was mediocre. Ryan, I'm going to respectfully disagree with you. It was mediocre on a good day.
bad every other time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like low rent at Muppets to like Pepe in Muppets Tonight the whole time.
Yes.
Thank
Ouch.
you.
All right. I think we're gonna call this one a fail.
Correct.
Absolute failed. I thought Muppets 2015 was
Okay.
inspired, and they're
But
never
there
gonna.
is one win though. For anyone who watched the Video Game Awards, the fact that the Swedish chef, even though he had people hands, is now going to be an Overcooked.
That's a win.
That's the only win that happened with the Muppets this year. That is the only win that happened with the
I'm
Muppets this
trying
year.
to find a silver lining.
Yeah.
Very good.
Like I have so much hope in the Muppets, but then I always get disappointed. All right. Next up, we're gonna go into HBO territory with Lovecraft Country. I only got to see the first episode. I still need to watch the rest of it. I am hooked. I just haven't had time because I'm gonna plug my baby and use my baby as an excuse for everything now for the lack of time. Even though,
Hey, Aaron, get a better excuse.
okay, but yeah, Lovecraft Country. I'm already loving it. It's
I
one
like
of the
it a lot.
few. It's one of the few H.P. Lovecraft anything that came out on TV that is actually good.
True.
I like that I'm equally afraid of white people as I am Lovecraftian horrors. That's my take on it so far. I like that.
But for all those people who have actually watched through, this is an indirect spoiler, but Baptism by Glitter made that whole show for me.
I like the show all over. I think it's cool. It does things in places I don't expect it to. And it's got a through line, but it also feels episodic. Does that make you know what I mean? Like we're about halfway through, so
Like Lovecraftian monster.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I really love that opening sequence where he's fighting aliens but it's PTSD. It was really good.
Yeah. So I think we're all confirming that as a win.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
The show that I've read the books, so it plays like the book that it could all be like the same story, but you can read each one of the stories individually.
Yeah. Yes, I would.
It very much has that feel. Yes.
I would feel like it connects a little tighter though, because there are, but they kind of you understand every character. So theoretically, if you were to watch them, like old TV, I think you could still catch up. Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
I think for of course, it's going to need that, but be that as it may.
All right. We're gonna power through these last couple of TV shows. The Right Stuff on Disney Plus. I am a big old school NASA buff. I really love NASA history and space travel history. The show is so well done that you forget that you're watching a historical drama, because there were moments where I was watching the show with my wife, with Christina, and we would be like, I don't think John Glenn's going to make it to space. You forget about the actual history because you're so enthralled with how they're doing the show. And if it's going to teach people about the history of NASA, I will consider The Right Stuff a win on my book. Am I the only one in this group who's watched that?
See, I don't watch a lot.
I just started it, like, cause I'm definitely in that history kind of guy, as I know you know. I'm my real life job is a social studies teacher. So I'm a space nerd, so I'm like already about it. I'm just like, so Aaron, give me a few more days and I'll finish binging it, and let me tell you, we're gonna geek out.
Oh yeah,
Geek
totally.
It's like
Yeah, it's great.
I'll probably check it out because I did spend a lot of 2020 watching flat Earth videos. Flat Earth debunking videos.
It feels like a series you finish and then you just immediately go to SpaceX launch videos.
Yeah.
Like it's just like you know what I think that's the thing. Everything that Star Trek is now trying to figure out, in reality, the right stuff is all that everybody ever really asked for. It's like, look, we want to feel good about traveling in space. That's so hard. We don't need Klingons banging each other. We just wanted space.
I do.
Hang on.
Yeah, but hold on. Wait till you start watching everything about Alan Shepard. That changes your view on that. Anyway, next up.
I want to see how to clean out porn, but that's just me.
I'm catching whiplash here. Let's go.
All right, next up on this list. This was on HBO Max. Close Enough. It was done by J.G. Quintel, the same guy who did Regular Show.
You just started it. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the animation in it, and I like the adult stories in it. It's absolutely a joy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we can all say that was a win, right?
Oh yeah. Totally worth watching.
It felt like the gold mine that they wouldn't let him post a regular show. Is what it feels like.
Yeah.
It's like everything that they were writing, and they go, we can't put this in regular show, but save it for this other thing that'll be close enough to regular show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. I agree.
All right.
Jason Mantzoukas is in it, and I can't say enough. He's Steelbeak in DuckTales as well.
Yes, he is. I forgot about
Jason
that.
Mantzoukas.
All right, so we're gonna do. There are other TV shows that we could talk about. But we're gonna try to power through this a little bit faster. I did save these two to talk about for last. First up, Animaniacs, which
Yes!
was kind of a
Such
surprise for
wonderful
most.
So my
Spoiler,
favorite
that
thing
one.
about Animaniacs is in the first episode when they do the whole song about rebooting it. I was living for that. Like, you have no idea.
And then Dot makes a joke before they sing the second song that's almost exactly the same as the first song. And I was like, all right, you guys know.
Can I just say that I know everybody saw the first episode, that was what worried me. I watched it, I'm like, this is great. This is everything I remember, except what everybody thinks. So it's all like, oh, making fun of reboots. And I was genuinely, after the first episode, like, okay. And Pinky and the Brain, of course, is fantastic. But I had to take a moment to pause and be like, okay, is this show just going to be about reboots? And then the next episode, they do exactly what I love, where they take an old story and give it an Animaniacs twist. And of course, you're in Jason and the Argonauts, and all of a sudden you're like, you're in the Odyssey. And I'm like, I'm here for this. This is all I ever wanted. And the subtle Donald Trump joke was just like, it wasn't really political. It was just kind of like, that was what I liked about Animaniacs, is that it treated a kid to enough current events, but not enough that you could laugh as a kid and as an adult be like, oh, that's funny, but the kids don't know what that means.
Oh yeah, no, because I remember watching Animaniacs as a kid, and when they always like throw in Bill Clinton, it would be like, oh, there's the president, and then I would watch it years later, and then you're like, oh, there's Bill Clinton on there. Oh no,
Yeah.
like
The moment that really got to me was oh gosh, I just spaced on it. It was like the old show where it's just the original, where all of a sudden I don't remember what the joke was. Just like, all right, we're looking for Prince, and it's like Prince, and then it says no, like Dot's like holding like Prince, long before he died, because from friggin' 90s, and he's like, no, fingerprints, and she's just like, I don't think this is good for a kid show.
yeah.
And when it came to the jokes in that second episode, like I'm thinking, like, okay, where's this stuff that a raunchy adult and a kid who just wants toilet humor can get both without either realizing that it's the other? And I got that, and I was just like, this is really good writing. Steven Spielberg still has his name attached. Now where's Freakazoid?
Okay, now
Yes.
hold on. I will bring up that there was a bit of a controversy that came up. If you paid attention to episode 5 with the Pinky and the Brain segue, they tried to air a Pinky and the Brain infomercial in the middle of the cartoon, and they actually put a phone number at the bottom of the screen. Nobody confirmed the phone number, and the phone number actually led to an adult line.
Oh no. Oh no.
In hours, they had to scramble and edit that entire scene out. So now when you go back to look at it, they've already removed it, and all you'd see is like a little montage of little like photos around the central picture. So yeah,
So something
that
else,
happened.
Brian, when you're telling me that somebody lost their job,
You
Or
know
got,
what?
or got a writing promotion. They were like, hey, we're going to take you off
That's a
anything
good
else, put you on something with an Emmy, but we need to get you out of here before they go. Good job. Really good job. You're good, but you gotta get out of here.
So if it wasn't a win already, just learning about that, I dare say that Animaniacs is still an epic win nonetheless.
Oh, absolutely.
From what I understand, season 2. Oh, I'm sorry. Season 2 is like done, and it's been done. And if you watch the way the first season came out, Andre the Black Nerd pointed this out, and it makes total sense. Everything in the first season was supposed to land. I think this was all supposed to drop before November. Like, it was supposed to be like middle of October, and you could tell that because there's like a Halloween special, there's an election special, there's some Trump jokes. Season 2, there's not gonna an Olympics. There wasn't gonna be a canceled Olympics. And there's a big thing about the Olympics.
Yeah.
So I think season 2 is going to be even, and I hear that it's even better. I hear Andre the Black Nerd hears that their better stuff is for season 2 because it's less trying to hit those marks for timelines, and they're more general. And then I think season 3 will start introducing some of the other characters because they haven't made it yet. And I think them making jokes about how they're not in it already is already enough that vindication that we're probably going to get Slappy Squirrel and at least the Good Feathers I can't imagine who else that. You know what I mean? Chicken Boo, probably.
Yeah.
Again.
Chicken Boo, like, it writes itself a lot of the time.
Chicken Boo writes itself. So I'd write a really dark one that's an all cops are bad one, but that's just me.
All right, so the last thing that we are going to review for TV that came out this year. Again, there are other things that did come out this year, but we are going to power through it, and if we do have time later on, we'll probably bring them up again. But this is one that, if there was any major TV show or anything of the like that came out this year that defined 2020, I think we can all agree that Tiger King is the definition of 2020.
Yep.
Arrest that Carol Baskin, she's a murderer.
She caused the COVID.
For a
Yeah.
woman who had ridden in the public consciousness, she's living rent-free in way too many people's brains.
Oh, God.
Tiger people are just insane.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I'm guilty of starting a class like while teaching and just being like, so here we're talking about, because I teach economics as well, and I'm just like, so here you've got supply and demand, unless you're this bitch Carol Baskin, and then all of a sudden all the money disappears. My kids on Zoom just all dropped dead. They were like, damn, this is crazy. They were going to town. I was just like, well, maybe if that bitch Carol Baskin,
Oh, God.
didn't ruin everything.
So, elephant in the room. My one problem is I don't think I could rewatch it because I know too much about Mr. Tiger King and what an actual bad person he is.
Yeah.
Really dark, horrible ways.
Yeah.
It's a one watch through, and you're good. You don't need to.
Yeah.
Wait,
True.
Tiny Post-Scriptum, he actually did send a request for Donald Trump to issue him a pardon.
Yes, that's really.
I hope he gets it.
Reed, you hardly talk the entire time, and that's what you start with. Just
Could you imagine Carol Baskin's face just imagining Donald Trump? Like Donald Trump last day of presidency, he's just like, I'm pardoning the Tiger King. My arrest trial before I leave for the security election. And then all of a sudden, imagine just Carol Baskin just literally be like, no.
oh,
They should
man.
trade places. Give Carol Joe's cell.
Just a clean swap.
Allegedly.
All right,
I'm
so
shocked I'm out of jail and make another reality show.
here's
Break
the
him out of jail.
No, I'm just
I think
saying,
it's a
like,
great skill.
bottom way out. I don't
this
know.
this is one of those shows where I'm one of the few people to admit it. I hate trash TV.
Right.
And I loved this show. And it's weird because, like, we watched it at 11 o'clock at night, and I'm like, okay, we're just going to watch the first episode. And then it was 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, okay, keep going. Here's the problem with this show. The people are horrible. Everyone is horrible. Like, we're entertained of people doing all these horrible things. Why are we not doing anything to save the tigers? I bought a Save the Tigers poster when I was a kid. Now I feel bad for myself. So because it is such an epic fail, so bad that it was an epic win, and it was so good, but it was so bad, it is one of the few things I will say that this was a totally epic there. Like,
Yeah.
it is so in the middle of both extremes that next time I do this, I need to put an epic there logo somewhere.
So I need to say one thing about Tiger King. I'm very happy to say that I have not seen it. I do not give less than two shits about it. And I will never see it because it is trash TV. And I have better things to do with my life than watch a show which is hot garbage.
The only if you ever want to watch,
I need to watch it. It's the best show on TV this year. And then
You're missing the point. We did not say best at
No.
all.
no,
Netflix
it's not the best show at all.
I get that, but my
Like
girlfriend
that
was like,
Greek thing
this
that I
show
haven't
is
seen.
awesome. You need to watch it because you are a terrible human being.
Okay, what I will say is that we at least get to see the marvels of modern dentistry, especially with the after show with Joel McHale.
Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah,
The reviews on that, man.
yeah. That was top notch. All right,
I don't know
so
what that means, and I'm okay with that.
okay.
Good.
All right. So, unfortunately, we did have a couple TV shows that either ended or canceled this year. We're gonna try to power through this list pretty quick. I'm gonna talk about the one that really pissed a lot of people off. Pissed me off. Venture Brothers got canceled.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and
So,
it shocked the creators.
yeah.
Yeah. So it was an industry thing. It was because there was a buyout with what's the studio? With Time Warner. It
Yeah.
has to do with some kind of buyout and some kind of transition. And essentially, they were just like, "Oh, a bunch of these old shows, we're just gonna leave them be." And because apparently this last season, because I also agree, I was pissed. I was just like, really, like they take like 2 to 3 years to finish this
Yeah,
season.
because they hand draw the show. Like they really take their time making the show.
They do a really good job.
Yeah.
It makes it feel like strangely anachronistic, where it's like it feels brand new, but it feels familiar at the same time, and it's so weird. But you like it.
Well, it started playing with these because it started in the classic, like at the tail end of classic Adult Swim, which was Hanna-Barbera but naughty, and it was doing its own Johnny Quest thing because it didn't have a Johnny Quest thing, and it was mocking that whole inner universe until it started becoming its own inner universe and just leaned into it. Instead of mocking it more, it just goes, no, this is really what's happening. These characters are all connected in some way, and there's even more connections here and there. It's if Alan Moore made a TV show for Hanna-Barbera in a lot of ways, but funny.
Yeah, that's a really good comparison, actually. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Because they like and to the point where all the Johnny Quest characters eventually show up one way or another. Or
I will say this. I will say this. David Bowie as a supervillain, awesome.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
totally awesome. Yeah.
I mean,
Was that
like,
actually him? Or
No,
was that
it
Oh,
was,
well, it's not really him, but still, it was one of those like,
but the estate did give their blessing.
yeah.
Like,
Nice.
but like,
That's amazing.
I'm not alone. A lot of people really hope that another network or something picks it up
I think
because
the HBO Max is talking about it because Harley Quinn show did so good, and they
Oh my
spread
god,
a lot
Harley
of
Quinn is
bro.
so good.
I know, did
That's
she
so-
didn't
that
come out
was-
this year?
amazing.
Yeah. All right,
I love
so
Harley
You
Quinn.
know what?
That's a good show.
I like it and I don't give a shit.
I love it.
I do too.
all right, so back to Venture Brothers. It's a
Canceling was a fail.
canceling was a fail. I think we can all agree on that. That was just I don't know why. Like that was such a good show, and
That was a mistake.
that was a mistake all the way. And it's and the worst part is it's not even the show's fault.
I don't think it's gonna be canceled for long. Is I think that's the gray line or the silver lining on this because I think HBO is probably gonna put it on someplace.
They will.
They're gonna renew Doom Patrol. They can put Venture Brothers on there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, on top of that, they had planned this to be their last season, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, season
I
8
wouldn't
was
be
supposed to
surprised.
be the final season of the Venture Brothers.
Yeah, because everything was coming to a head anyway. So I was getting. I want them to finish it. If that's the case, maybe they'll just get a couple of movies on HBO Max, like Adventure Time, Distant Lands, and I'm down for that too.
Yeah. No, I'm down for that.
Futurama style, where they did those movies.
Yeah.
Man, that's the show I missed.
Alright, you gotta
Um,
hurry it up.
Yeah. So other things that got canceled. Drunk History got canceled. That's a fail.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was a fantastic
That was
show.
It seems like that show has no budget, and I don't know why you would ever cancel it, but whatever.
Yeah.
It was the same movie deal that they like. I think it was something with AT&T happened with a buyout of some sort, and I know that had to do with a lot of shows getting canceled in the transition, which is dumb. Like you think that corporations would realize, like, oh, people like this stuff. Let's not just cancel piecemeal because of money.
Right.
Some companies have to learn the hard way.
Another sad show that this show got canceled, and not because of like network stupidity or anything like that. Glow, it's a fail that it got canceled, but this is actually because of COVID. It got canceled.
I
Makes
think
sense.
for a live action show that is that physical, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. That being said, while they said it's canceled, Netflix has said they will still bring it back somehow, but
Just do a cartoon.
Glow as a cartoon would be amazing.
Yeah, like those crappy ones.
Yeah, but good.
Yeah, but good.
All right.
I think you do it in the style of shit. What's that show? Yep, Celebrity Deathmatch.
Yeah.
Oh, that. Oh,
Oh no. Oh god.
Or like mixed medium.
actually, let's just bring back Celebrity Deathmatch. I'm down for that. I missed that.
Celebrity Deathmatch coming back, if ever. That would be a win in my book.
I mean, with the amount of PC-ness that's been going around, I know it'll be very mixed with how it comes out, but there's a line you can walk that could actually make that amazing.
You know what? We just get a bunch of really talking dancers and have them, dance on the line a little bit.
I mean, come on, if you put Carol Baskin in episode 1, you're already gonna win.
As long as you have Marilyn Manson show up occasionally to murder everybody, I'm okay with it.
All right.
Try to do, like, the show goes.
All right. Let's go into shows that ended this year. So we had a couple of shows that ended on their own terms, or shows that ended because of contractual reasons, or shows that ended because they saw the writing on the wall. Future Man was one of those shows that ended this year. Michael and Heather, you two were really all over Future Man.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. Like I was in stitches the whole time.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go back to it again because it's one of those where you can just kind of watch it a few times over because I didn't write it as much as Back to the Future, but I think it's the best comedy time travel thing since Back to the Future easily.
And I'm eager to see like all the Easter eggs I missed.
Yeah.
So it's ending. Would you call that a win? Was it a good ending? Or
I don't think I want another season of it. It's fine. Yeah.
It's got a solid 3 seasons. Yeah, it's good.
okay.
That's the way I feel about one of the other shows that we're talking later that only had 1 season, but it was spectacular.
Which show was that?
We're going to talk about it in a couple minutes, so I don't want to spoil it to our viewers or our listeners or whatever.
Okay. All right. So next up we have The Good Place ended this year as well.
I really liked The Good Place.
I think that ended good.
Yeah.
Well,
I think it was a solid ending.
I
Are
cried.
you saying that it ended in a good place?
yeah, actually I would.
That deserved to go to the third circle. So
Yeah, my favorite character is Jason in that.
Oh my God! Yes.
wasn't he like a low-key thirst trap for like all of season 2 and 3?
All of it?
Yes.
All of it? No, he's good. I mean, I think The Good Place is one of those shows where I could have really hated it, but I think ultimately it ended fine. It didn't insult me because that's something for me because all the philosophy.
It taught me a lot of philosophy. Yeah.
Yeah, that was. I think that was the biggest takeaway for me on the show. Was it's a thinker of a show, like a really big thinker of a show, and at the same time, this also shows me that we don't deserve Ted Danson in anything. We
Apparently
don't
not.
deserve
What a
Ted
nice
Danson.
guy.
Like,
He's too pure.
like
I liked him in the HBO show a while back, and then I was like, why isn't he in more stuff?
So-
and then he's
So if Tom Hanks is America's dad, does that make like Ted Danson America's like inoffensive across the street neighbor?
Look, Ted Danson.
Maybe-
no, Ted Danson is the history teacher that gave you hope.
I was gonna say something. I was
Like-
gonna say something like an English teacher that really likes your poetry.
Ben, I
Not in a
think
creepy way.
Ben, you're low key Ted Danson with this logic.
Bartender for years.
So
Ted Danson started me to go into bartending when I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
So yeah, the ending of Good Place
Way to aim
was
high. Way to aim high.
Yeah, I think it was epic. But
Yeah.
I don't know how she could have ended it. Like the more I think about it,
I think
So,
that was
yeah.
the way you're supposed to end it. So we're about to lose connection again. So we're gonna take a small pause so I can reestablish the connection for the stream.
Okay, cool.
I think I'm actually gonna have to drop out, guys.
live again. I'm Dad.
Yeah, we are live again. Unfortunately, Ben had to leave the call. He had some personal stuff he has to get ready for tomorrow. He's a teacher after all, so kudos to him. Thank you, Ben, for showing up on this stream. And we're going to continue
Thank you
with...
for completely owning your entire class on a Zoom call.
Oh, jeez. Ben, I hope you don't lose your job.
He's gonna lose his job.
I hope we need more teachers like Ben, in my personal opinion. And before this becomes a let's praise the heck out of Ben stream, let's go back to TV shows that ended this year. So other shows that ended this year, BoJack Horseman. So this is another show that is very schadenfreude in a lot of ways because it's so well written. You feel a lot of sympathy for a person who is so toxic. And you're seeing all sides of these personal issues that happen with someone in Hollywood, especially a man who's a horse. But it's more than that. It is a show that we all assumed it was going to end one way, and it took away our expectations nonetheless. I was always convinced that he was going to die in an OD.
Me too.
Or something like
View
that.
from halfway down episode's great.
Yeah. And I thought that was going to be the ending.
Yeah, one of the better death episodes I've seen in a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
No, I'm
and
glad he didn't die. I'm glad he didn't die because I think that would ruin it for
It's
me.
more realistic that way.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie though, the ending that they did go with sorry?
That's just a little horse joke.
Oh,
Because you don't want to beat a dead horse. Or...
yeah. But nonetheless, I think the fact that they ended it with him still like going to jail and like still having his comeuppance at the end of the day and people cutting out of his life, it's a very realistic.
It feels like it needed another season.
Okay,
Yeah.
bear in mind, minor
They
spoilers,
planned on.
ladies and gents. I mean, it's BoJack Horseman, so of course he's going to be in and out of jail. But be that as it may.
Well, no, he's never been in jail the whole series. Like he's supposed to should have been in jail a lot sooner than or was. Am I wrong? Or
No, you're right.
Like,
I thought they said he was in jail before the start of the show, and they made reference to it, but they didn't show him there.
I think it was in
Did
rehab.
they?
It was rehab
Maybe
mostly.
it seems like we should have flashed back to it. Maybe that was what was missing from the other season. Because there's shots of him when he's in jail when we see him go to jail, but for the breaking and entering and then all the other stuff basically.
Right.
And then, yeah, I mean, like I don't think he was in. I don't really remember. I thought he was just a hack.
Yeah.
I think he was just a hack. Yeah, I think he's just like a Bob Saget type, where he's just like, what did Bob Saget do? Oh, he's gone,
Filthy.
doing stuff, and then he comes back recently. I don't want to be filthy anymore, and you're like Bob Saget. Yeah, you're right. But yeah, but you're right. And my point is I think you could have ended BoJack with halfway down as the last episode, and there's a world where that would have been a satisfying ending. But I think the last episode is really where you know what I mean? Like
It hammers it home.
it's meaner, I think, than dying.
I lost my cursor for a second there. Sorry, I have too many monitors. But yes, no, I agree.
Anyway,
Do we?
Yeah.
I think are we all on the same page that the show's ending was a win?
I'll give it a win, but not an epic win. Because again, like I think it got canceled before the creators were ready, and that's always a fail on some level to me.
So a soft win.
But I don't think the actual end product is bad.
It's solid enough to be considered a win because it's better than a there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Next up, yeah, we're gonna go a little quicker. We're gonna skip a couple also. Fuller House ended, which is weird because like okay, when we go into shows that like reboot territory and things like that, a lot of shows got reboots and it showed that there's still a level of nostalgia that we like. Fuller House was one of those shows that when it came back, okay, the first season was very interesting before they went with it. And then the next 3 seasons feels too much like a remake of Full House in a way where it feels insistent. And then you can't watch it without thinking about the aunt.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm gonna be frank. I didn't even realize it was still going on.
to approach this
We didn't
carefully.
want Fuller House.
We got halfway through episode 1 and failed. Sorry.
Yeah. I enjoyed the first season. I kind of enjoyed it, but that was about it. It didn't.
My favorite moment in season 1 of Full House was when the Tanners start talking about Mary-Kate and Ashley, and they just look off screen, and I was like, this show is going to be hot garbage, and I'm going to drop off.
Me too. That was us too. Literally, that was us too. No, that's not a joke. Same. Big same.
Yeah.
They don't know how to
Now,
write comedy anymore.
I understand that this is going to be kind of a hard tangent reach, but I actually enjoyed more of the Girl Meets World sequel series than I would have enjoyed Fuller House.
Yeah.
Girl Meets World, I thought was actually good.
Yeah. Too bad. I mean, it's a shame that Girl Meets World didn't get a little bit more than it should have. Unfortunately, that was a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did they
but
get canceled?
it got canceled, but it gave them enough time to end.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah, it was like, hey, this is going to be your last season. Oh, okay.
yeah. Thing is, like, so we've had a lot of
There was
reboot.
enough notice for them to kind of tie all the loose ends up. So.
Yeah.
We have a lot of reboot shows that have been happening, and Fuller House was kind of the one that really pushed that forward, and then other shows kind of took the ball and ran with it better. Fuller House, it feels like it's not a parody of the original show, but it feels like a parody of the original show, and that's what makes it weird for me. And the sad part is, like, I don't consider it a hard fail. It's kind of one of those things where I'm like, it exists, so it's there, but it's very close to fail in my book.
It's like a sitcom purgatory.
Yeah. Oh no, Brian, I think you said it best right there. Yeah. So honestly,
really
it's
bad sitcom purgatory.
Yeah. I think are we good on that? It's there.
Yeah. There.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit lower on the end of there, but yeah.
I had no idea. I had no idea it ended. By the way, so
Yeah,
that's how
that's
much
kind of
there it
the only
is.
reason. I would think that if they had ended it maybe a season earlier, it would be there. I feel like it's a little closer to a fail just because they kept trying. They just kept trying.
I believe that.
All right.
Anyway.
Our last two.
Costs to pay.
Sorry.
I'm just saying. People had court costs to pay.
Oh, shit. Ooh. Damn.
That's light.
All right. Last two.
Our last two TV shows that ended this year. She-Ra, Princess of Power.
Very good.
Was
Ooh. Okay. I'm of two minds with She-Ra.
Well, we like She-Ra, so.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I can appreciate it for the story that it was telling.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
don't necessarily feel that it was a She-Ra story. Does
Fair
that
enough.
make?
I don't have any attachment to old She-Ra, so since I have no attachment to old She-Ra, it's real easy for me to just watch this and be like,
Well-
I like the character designs, and I hate that art style. So it took me, and I think Ketra's relationships are really realistic to being young and distant from other people. Like, so I it's not necessarily for me. I thought it was fine. I think it's pretty good, and I think it ended fine.
Well,
Yeah.
this is also from somebody who did kind of, grow up and at least see some of She-Ra. I mean, it was on at the same time as He-Man, so of course I'm going to watch both.
But
But
this She-Ra was, you have to admit, this She-Ra was written for a completely different audience than that She-Ra.
yeah.
very much so. But in addition to the fact that it reached so far into wanting to tell the complex stories about the relationships, where it was a little bit more cut and dry with the older version. Well, of course, it's 80s, so it's going to kind of have that veneer. But it just felt like they were shoehorning in subplots that didn't feel like it quite meshed.
I don't know. I like, the thing is She-Ra's not a hill I'm super willing to die on, but it's also not Thundercats Roar. It's not. I don't find it insulting. I think it. Like I said, its demo isn't mine. And is it Trapta?
Entrapta.
Entrapta is like one of my favorite characters. I love that
no,
character.
we jokingly refer to her as a bear claw because she's larger than a cinnamon roll.
Wow.
Okay.
Amazing. That character's really good, and I haven't seen much characters like that outside of Little Washu from Tenchi Muyo.
Yeah, I sympathize with Entrapped on a deep level.
Yeah.
No, but her and Scorpina, I'm like,
Yeah.
Yes.
I all the bad guys are great. It's a great show for me.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
I mean, okay, but that's why I'm saying I can like the show, but I'm really of two minds of it. It's
Yeah.
difficult for me to
I
kind of.
feel that.
All right. So with that being said, She-Ra. Sorry.
Oh, but you bear in mind, we do have something that's nice to know. Kevin Smith is working on the He-Man reboot for 2021.
Yes.
So yes.
All right. So
Kevin Smith is one of my all-time favorites. I've gone to 2 different Kevin Smith speaks, which are they've both been amazing. And hello, are we there?
Yeah,
I'm
we're here.
Listening to you.
I just want to say mean things about Kevin Smith.
all right. So She-Ra, Princess of Power. I think we're gonna say is a win.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
But no, I wouldn't say it's an epic win. I think it ended fine. It's great for kids.
I'm ready to see what that.
It was like an easy. That one should have been a knocking out of the park, and the guy was just annoying. All right, sorry.
All right. We're back. Okay. Sorry about that. Last TV show that ended this year, and a lot of people are saying that this is going to be the death knell for a certain TV franchise. Keep in mind, they're still adding stuff to this TV franchise, so let's see how that goes. Arrow ended its run. Arrow was the start of the DC TV universe, which is quite interesting because Arrow had a very slow start, and then when they started adding all these extra heroes to the mix, then it really added more to the show. Arrow has a strange love-hate relationship among fans. I'm not sure which of you guys have been part of the DC TV universe, or the Arrowverse, or the Flareverse, or whatever millions of names that there are. Your thoughts?
Just Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
I thought that early in the series, Arrow was fantastic, and then it got kind of poopy.
That's what my brother said.
And then the other, like the spin-off shows, were fine. I thought that Legends of Tomorrow was hysterically funny.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Of all the Arrowverse TV shows, Legends of Tomorrow is the one I always return to the most.
And then there were moments that I'm like, this show is hot garbage, and I don't know why I'm watching this.
It sounds a lot like the Daredevil Marvel show to me.
It's interesting. It's not necessarily a format shift, but I do feel like it was sort of a gear shift when, for lack of a better term, the power scaling started to become a bigger factor in the later seasons. Like when you get into seasons 4, 5, 6, 7, then you're looking at all of these people that are superpowered, and then you have Arrow, who's still a dude with arrows.
Yeah, but that's also the problem that Hawkeye has in that like both Hawkeye and what's her face,
Black Widow.
Thank you.
Black Widow's a monster because she can't have kids, so she's just like the
Oh!
Sorry, that middle Avengers movie is real terrible.
You're not wrong.
Uh-huh.
Oh, no.
I can't wait to hear your review on Black Widow next year. But yeah, so Arrowverse, Arrow ending.
Meh.
Meh. It happened. It happened, and it needed to
I
happen.
haven't said much this
Kind of
episode,
needed to
but I
happen.
will say good riddance to that.
Yeah, I don't see why you need Arrow when you have like the Flash and other flashier, literally
Flashier.
characters. Yeah.
Oh wow, that was fantastic.
I mean, again, I didn't watch Arrow. My brother watched it. He started it and he liked it, and then he got halfway through and he disliked it. And there's no reason for me to go to that. And like Doom Patrol, I watch it because it's funny and interesting and it has good characters, not because of the special effects, which is what I would imagine. Though when they got real good, season 2 is really good looking. So
I still need to give Doom Patrol a shot.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So Arrow was there. And our last 2 TV shows we're going to talk about are we got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That ended this year. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was a very strange show for the Marvel universe because it's part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's not part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It gets a little weird and screwy with the canon, but then again, it's not a Star Trek show, so let's not worry about canon very easily. But I will say this: it's weird because the first season was meh until the Hydra stuff starts happening. You're like, oh, I'm on board with this, and then they're operating as spies, but they're not really spies, but they're more outlaws than spies, and then oh, they're hardcore spies again. And then the last season just goes completely off the rails.
2 seasons.
Last 2 seasons, yeah, you're right. Last 2 seasons go completely off the rails in the right Marvel way. So
What I would say to that is, I've jumped in and out of it, so I can't say that I've watched it from one end to the other, but I've kind of like popped in at weird points and then started to catch on. It's a weird time capsule. Because remember that a lot of the time that the filming was going on with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., we were still trying to figure out the buyout from Fox into Disney to get the rest. So all of that just was sitting really in flux. So they were having to try to write it in such a way where it was like hinting at but not directly acknowledging a whole plethora of things that was going on.
yeah,
Did it start that like right after the first Avengers movie, like very like that same year or like the next year or something? I feel like it was really close because I know I watched the first season and found it bailed.
I will say with absolute certainty though, like for those of you who gave up on it, and I don't blame you. It is a hard series to stay consistently on top of. The last 2 seasons are very good at redeeming the show. Minor spoiler, so I think the second to last season they end up traveling into the future, and then they have to figure out a way to get back home and prevent the future from happening because like they know for sure Earth's destruction and stuff happens, so they have to go back and fix it. And they do a good job with that. And then when they go back, then it becomes time traveling shenanigans, but all in the right way. Partially because of what happens in the other Avengers movies, but partially it puts the Avengers outside of the main storyline, so they do a pretty good job with that. I personally think it was a win. I don't know where you guys stand, and it looks like you guys are so divided on it, and I'm going to go with the council of you on this, and I think we'll just give it an equal there.
Yeah. Of all the Marvel things that made the least impact, more people are interested in what they're doing coming out now, like WandaVision and Loki.
WandaVision looks amazing.
Well,
Yeah.
Now that things are kind of like gelled proper, now they can kind of like spread themselves out into the Marvel universe more completely than they were able to before because of the rights now reverting back to Marvel. So I'm really interested in seeing what they're going to do because with the announcements of all of the stuff that Disney just put out a couple days ago, I want to say,
Yeah.
then we're definitely in for a ride.
I want to say, my thing on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is I think they overplayed how much people were going to be interested in S.H.I.E.L.D. as a concept. Because I don't think it's that interesting, even in the comics. Like,
I mean, look, I happen to love the concept of S.H.I.E.L.D.
No, I'm not criticizing the concept necessarily, but as like after the Avengers movie, it seems like they should have done like a B-class superhero team instead of.
Well,
Yeah, like the East Coast, like West Coast Avengers or something.
Yeah.
Right. That's like what the Defenders was supposed to be. But
Yeah.
look,
Like,
I love
good.
The Defenders was really good. I
Uh,
like the Defenders. I will argue for the Defenders all day.
the thing is, there's a lot of mixed bag in that whole side cinematic universe because I had things about Iron Fist that I liked, and then it went real fast.
Yeah,
And,
like,
and
look,
I'm sorry,
I
Marvel. Traditionally, just make him a Chinese character from now on, or whatever you're trying to do in the first place. Don't make a white
can
guy.
live without Iron Fist. For the rest
Yeah.
of
We
it.
don't need saviorship at that point. I get
Right.
it. But, you
Yeah.
know, I do still appreciate John Bernthal as Punisher.
You're
That
good.
was
Oh, yeah.
really good.
Oh yeah.
So good.
Oh, yeah.
there were parts-
I mean, he's no Dolph Lundgren, but that's still pretty good.
Sorry. I guess that's again why Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's just kind of there.
All right, so last TV show we're gonna end on, and then we're gonna go into movies, and we'll try to speed through movies as fast as possible because we are getting a little later than I thought we were gonna get, but still, nonetheless, this is one of the biggest TV show endings of the year. This is one of the longest running. It was a Warner Brothers show before it became a CW show, so this kind of dates this show. It has a very big fan base. It's one of those shows that I watch on and off. But it's still popular nonetheless in the pop culture zeitgeist, especially among us geeks.
Stop the they're up.
Oh, yes, no, this is definitely this ending was not a there, but you know, thank you for clearing that up. Supernatural ended this year.
Oh yeah.
I feel
So
like
I
this-
had friends.
I feel
I
like
had friends
Supernatural
that
is
had
like this.
funeral for Supernatural when the show ended.
What?
They love the show. They worship the show. I was like, yeah, my friends, because they liked it so much, I couldn't get into it. I really tried, but the whole my good friends, they were talking it up so much that I'm like, unless the show is literally perfect, I'm not going to be able to get into it. And I really gave it a shot. Couldn't do it.
I mean, to be fair, like a lot of people didn't get into Supernatural until like randomly later on in later years of the show. It's still one of those shows that I watch the show when I can. I appreciate the show. I don't understand the popularity half the time, but keep in mind I'm a geek. Like I can understand that going all over the place with other things. But the way that show has grabbed people is so insane for the fact that this show could keep going. And it's not even just like geeks. Like this is a show that almost anybody was watching at any given time. My mother-in-law, her mom, is very religious and she's very picky about the shows she watches, and she loves Supernatural. Like it's that kind of weird dichotomy. The weird dichotomy of that show is like the way it grabbed people for what 12 years. I don't even know how long.
I feel like Supernatural is this generation's Buffy.
Ooh.
I guess.
Yes,
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah,
That's a very good analogy.
it's an unpopular but very believable and realistic analogy. Yeah.
It's not as interesting. There's no like episodes I think of Supernatural that there's no way there's anything that's comparative to like the Silence episode or like the musical episode or
Okay,
Supernatural crossed over with Scooby Doo.
that's the closest to the puppet episode. It's pretty close to the puppet
That's
episode.
That is
Yeah.
Angel, not Buffy.
Ooh, I got schooled on by my wife.
But I don't know. Supernatural just never. I started watching it back when it was a thing, but it's man those episodic Monster of the Week things. They got to really be something special for me to keep up beyond. Especially back then, because you had to wait a week every week. Come on. Or 15 meetings and stuff.
Yeah, I enjoyed Supernatural, but I definitely waited and I watched the entire season at once. I did not watch it as it came out.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it seems like something I'm more willing to do because I haven't seen much Supernatural, and I like to, know that things are going to end on a good note.
Yeah.
Before I get invested.
I thought they had from what I understand from people talking about it, it should have ended a few seasons ago, which is never a good sign. And they had kind of a good ending already a few seasons ago, but I don't really know.
Yeah, it depends on who you talk to about it. Like I think that
Look, they
line
were
of thinking, that line of thinking, you can tell how old the fan is.
Look, they were really meta about it. In one of the seasons, there was a play about it, and they're like, "Oh my god, what are they doing with this?"
What about when they went to a convention
Fire
for
Island
Supernatural?
Yeah, they've gotten really meta about the show. Like they know that it's still like they knew that it went on too long, and they knew it 5 seasons ago, but they were still getting renewed, so they just kept pumping it out.
They were living under the principle that they like money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. But they very similar to like Family Guy. It was like, hey, how is this still a thing? And my mom's calling me. Hey.
And The Simpsons. How is The Simpsons still?
Yeah.
It's written by computers.
When was the last
Okay.
time?
Mom needs me help with something.
When was the
So-
last time any one of us saw a good episode of The Simpsons?
Season
I don't
8.
know, but I'm still watching South Park. So
The last good episode of The Simpsons.
There's, by the way, Aaron, there's one correct answer for the record.
When did season 11 end?
Yeah, that's a correct answer. It was the last.
I love Simpsons. All right, my wife's not in the room. I love Simpsons Golden Years. My wife loves the zombie years. I'm not a big fan of the zombie years, and she hates the Golden Years episodes.
that's a hard relationship you're in.
Okay. When I can tell you that I can still remember the lyrics for the Maison Derriere song.
Oh my God, yes.
It wouldn't take much for me to remember it again, but it's been a while since once it went to Disney, I've such poison for Disney that I was just like, I just really hate Disney. It
So
really ruins a lot of things for me on a personal level. But that said, The Simpsons being ruined is not ruined. It was ruined 10 years ago almost. Yeah.
Let me tell you when The Simpsons died. It was the episode called "The Principal and the Pauper."
Yeah.
They decided to kill the canon of The Simpsons.
I don't know if that killed it for me necessarily, because I feel like I watched it after that, but I can't
Yeah, but
say.
you watched it begrudgingly because you were used to watching it.
Well, but I don't think I remember the principal and the pauper affecting me that much. But I was also 16 or 15, so.
Okay, but I do have a question to pose. How many of you guys at least tuned in the first time that FXX said that they were going to be airing every Simpsons episode ever?
okay, so here's the thing. For years, my background TV noise was any episode of Law and Order. My new background TV noise after that was Simpsons.
Fair enough.
Yeah, Law and Order was that for me too in like 2007, 8, because it was on Netflix. You could just turn it on and then like fall asleep.
Or you could just,
Wake up,
or you turn on like TNT or like any other like Turner-owned network, and like randomly Law and Order would be on.
Right.
All right, so let's go back to Supernatural. That ending.
Why? Destiel. You didn't talk about Destiel at all yet. You guys know that Destiel?
Yeah, okay, so
Oh, the third member of the throuple. My bad.
The
Dude,
pairing
take the
of
floor.
the two. And they made it real, and then they immediately sent one to Super Hell. It's the talk of the town. And there's conspiracies that they rewrote the whole ending to make it way less gay, so that people would follow one of the actors to a new reboot of Walker, Texas Ranger, which I don't know if I believe
yeah,
that.
Jared Padalecki is doing Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yes,
Yeah.
he is.
It's a whole theory that they rewrote the whole ending to make it.
Well,
I
that's
don't know.
because a lot of people discovered how forgive the jaunt into the politisphere, but they discovered that Chuck Norris is actually quite divisive.
I wonder why. So, all right, Supernatural ending. What do we consider that? Win, there, fail?
I'm a there, but
Send it to Super Hell.
Fail, they shouldn't have rewritten it if they actually did.
I'm
I think we're gonna go with there. And I lost the chat again. Oh man, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna
Gotta
take.
go with
I lost you guys for a second there. I don't know what happened. I'm gonna take this time to make a PSA to please let's stop privatizing the internet and make it a public resource because it's making live streams not work.
this is why you have to pay attention to who is in charge of that. By the way, from my understanding, is our current communications secretary is going to be leaving his position quite soon.
Yay,
I hope he's got room in his house for all those big.
Reese's mugs.
Just leave
He's
IRC
going to be
alone.
sleeping in one. It's
What was
perfect.
the
It's like
last 4 years?
Dumpster fire year.
Can I make? I know we said about the. Can I just say how happy I am that in less than 68 days or whatever, we're done with this garbage.
Yeah.
So far, yeah.
Well, it'll be a slow pickup, but that's what happens when you don't pay your garbage men. So, anyway, we're gonna move on to movies. Believe it or not, movies came out this year.
Really?
I'll be honest with you. The last movie I saw in theaters was the re-release of Ghostbusters in the summer when they started opening up movie theaters again.
Oh, no.
And they were re-showing like old movies. And let me tell you something. It is so weird going to the movie theater and no one else is there. And
Yeah, I believe that.
yeah, it's the best time to go to movies is during a pandemic because no one else is there. And, you know, you can turn the whole movie theater into your own MST3K episode. But I digress.
Which I did between me and some really good friends did that about 20 years ago. God, I won't.
Yeah.
I did that at a speaking of conventions at a MagFest. A bunch of people went and we did it to Tintin.
Oh my
So I
god.
need to watch Tintin again. I hear it's a great movie, but we talked over it. There's a part where it was action, and we all did the Indiana Jones theme over it with our mouths. It was very loud in that theater. It was a good movie. It was cool. Years.
That
And we all built cats.
Yeah, the last movie we saw was Knives Out, I think.
oh man, that was a
Last
good
week I
movie.
was arguing with my girlfriend on our second date.
The only movie I saw in theaters that was new this year was Sonic the Hedgehog. But let's go to the top of the list real quick because I have a couple movies that. All right, so Dolittle came out this year.
did very little for me.
Okay. I think we can kind of agree with that one that was kind of a fail movie.
It tried to be everything, and it did it badly.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, and it was kind of one of those moments of I had hope for that movie. I had a lot of hope for Dolittle.
Ooh, I heard that was bad.
Yeah.
I heard Little was pretty bad.
Then you agree with our rating that was a fail. Next up we have Birds of Prey, or The One Emancipation of Harley Quinn. This is one of those movies where you got to say the whole title like A Tribe Called Quest. So,
So I liked it, but it's because I'm heavily biased towards Harley Quinn. Like, I love that character.
I liked her, and she was the best thing in Suicide Squad. I didn't see the sequel yet, but I will.
Yeah.
So I've seen the Suicide Squad sequel. It's fantastic. Well, I think. I've also seen the animated version, which is Arkham. The one that they have to escape Arkham is actually a Suicide Squad movie more than it's a Batman movie. But that's my opinion.
Right.
We can argue about that some other time. I'm just a big Harley Quinn fan, and I thought it was super good.
Yeah. I think the story was pretty solid for what it was. My only problem with any of the DC expanded universe, whatever acronym they go by, the problem is that all the movies are all over the place. So there's always that little bit in the back of my head that's like, where does this take place in the timeline? Is this still canon? Is this not still canon? And I shouldn't have to
into multiverses, so you can't bother with that.
Yeah, and that's the problem. I have to keep reminding myself of that, you know.
Yeah,
So
you just can't bother with that.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be a completely different Batman in the new Batman, and there's going to be a different Batman in. You're also doing a different Batman with all the other Batmans. And isn't Michael Keaton coming back for one of these Batmans? So yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
So we're saying it's Batman.
Oh my God. It's
They got two things, and Superman's pretty dog crap right now. I think that property needs a little time to cool off before they fix it.
I think it's sad that the only good DC movie that came out that I was really like into. Like, to me, it's weird that my top 3 DC modern cinematic movies are Shazam, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman.
I like
So
Shazam.
Even Aquaman had a little bit of a bittersweet taste to that one, though.
Yeah, but it's such a weird listing to ever say, because when you're a kid and when you were a kid and the thought process of we're gonna have a DC cinematic universe, your top 3 movies should logically be Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, and now it's Shazam, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman.
Shazam was hella good though.
Yeah.
I'm
Unfortunately,
ecstatic
Mark
about
Hamill.
Wonder Woman 84. I think that's going to be a really good movie.
And that's gonna be in 11 days.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see that.
Yeah.
Much more than Christmas, actually.
Which we're unfortunately we can't review that because it hasn't come out yet. I will say this on one last note. The Harley Quinn movie was pretty good for what it was. It did not feel like it should have been in movies. It felt like it should have been like a online. It felt like it should have gone straight to video or straight to online, but it was pretty damn good for what it was.
Yeah, no, I thought it was fantastic. I really like I said, I really like the character. I'm personally a big fan when geek-related stuff, which more focus is on not sexualizing women. Brian and I have had conversations about this for many years. So.
No, I think I think that actress is really quite good as Harley Quinn, and
Yeah,
she's
Margot Robbie, yeah.
Well, and the thing is I early on before I got to see the movie, I did have misgivings about Gal Gadot, and I remember about the MMA fighter that went by the fighter name Wonder Woman. That I was honestly looking at her just to see what would have been able to come out of that. I thought it would have been an intriguing way to go. But, hey, you've got a good team, and if the writing is going to stay solid, then of course you're going to get a good story out of it.
Yeah.
So, so the girl who taught was Gal Gadot's stunt woman is a girl named Caitlin Deschelle, who, when I was into karate 20 years ago, she was actually one of my students.
Oh, no
That's funny.
way.
Whoa.
And she was also the stunt double for Ahsoka in the last Star Wars, in the last one, in the Mandalorian, right? In the recent Mandalorian.
Nice.
That's cool.
All right. So I think we can say that Birds of Prey or the One Emancipation of Harley Quinn, that was a win. I think we can say. I think we're all on the same page of that. All right. Okay, next up, Sonic the Hedgehog. How did that become a good movie?
Because Jim Carrey's a national treasure.
Because when you watch it, you're family.
It's I think we're just going to speed through this. I think we all are on the same page. It was a win.
Win.
Yeah. I mean,
Thanks to Jim
I'm
Carrey.
excited to see it because. like I
Okay,
said,
it defied the odds in being a win in so many weird ways.
And they actually listened to the fans when they said that Sonic was creepy.
Yeah, oh my God.
It wasn't just listening to fans; it was acknowledging reality. I'm sorry.
I think the redesign was quite good.
Yeah.
Like, that was an interesting conversation this year entirely, too. So.
All right.
They gotta put Chris Chan in the sequel, though.
Oh yeah.
Well, she's not Chris Chan anymore.
I think she's Christina.
Oh, Christina
I
Chan.
think she
Not that
still
far
uses Chris Chan as like a
Oh,
short
okay.
for Christine.
I think she
Yeah.
That's good to know.
All right. Well, we're all on the same page. Sonic the Hedgehog was the win. I dare say the underdog of the year. Next up, Onward. Onward was supposed to come out in theaters. Obviously, that couldn't happen. Came out to digital, and
I saw it in theaters. It was the last movie
Me and
I
my
saw.
girlfriend.
you guys got to see it in theaters.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was right before.
It was like the last thing.
Yeah,
I
it was
saw.
right.
Okay,
At the end.
I forget that
It was
we have
super
different
good.
closures during the pandemic. So like Florida was in the lead for a while. So I'm sorry, you got like everyone else took the win out of that. But either way, I did get to see Onward online. Most of you guys saw Onward. I
was at home.
I
I'd
was
watch it.
I was apprehensive at first, and then I really started digging it. Like after like the first 10 minutes, like it took me 10 minutes to start digging it, and then it was really good.
I really like the premise, and I like some of the jokes. Some
Oh,
of the
yeah.
jokes really hit very hard, like especially some of the D&D things.
Oh yeah,
Oh
totally.
yeah.
I love
gonna say,
like the
My
slang.
love of D&D was fully realized in a couple of the lines.
Yeah.
Like I low key I want to name my next car Guinevere.
Oh yes.
Like
And speaking of like Wonder Woman type things too, Soul is going to come out on Christmas.
oh yeah, that's
Yeah, that
Yes.
looks amazing.
that looks
My
good.
love of Jazz is really happy about that.
But
I hear the premise of that is only the first third of the movie, and then it goes into places after that. So
now I will bring up a little bit of controversy in regards to Onward and in regards to Guinevere in particular, because there is a woman who actually has a very similar paint job for a custom van. Disney hired her for an event, and then Disney basically created their own version and interpretation of the mural that was on the side of her van.
So Disney doubled down on being Disney again.
Yeah.
Okay.
They trace 3D models that people make for Star Wars ships for pretty much every episode of their comics now.
Oh yeah,
And
no,
every
that's
issue of their comics.
there's a couple of YouTube videos that dissect that. It's quite interesting how like I find the politics in that very interesting. That fans are making fan art, and then the company that owns it is taking the fan art and making it a realistic thing, and then it feels gross.
Well,
they've always had a problem with
Yeah.
people
It
using
feels
Yeah.
gross, but then there's another flip side to look at it. If you think about standardization in terms of the models, because remember that the people who draw it are really going to try to be as precise and as close to the original source as they are.
Well, they mess up though. There's different modelers who have different idiosyncrasies on how they do things, and those come in. In one point, they actually traced the pegs that were meant for. This was a model that was meant to be printed and like displayed on like a thing,
Oh my
and
god.
the artist actually traced the peg on all the ships. That's not a part of the ship. It's for display purposes.
Oh man.
Like these are interns that are like, oh, I need to draw a Star Destroyer, so they go to Google Images and find Fractal Sponges one and just rotate it however they can.
Oh wow. Anyway, so Onward.
Onward was good.
Onward was a win.
Yeah, I'd say a soft win.
Okay.
Solid win.
Is it better than Up? Like
Yes.
well, this,
I would actually put them in the same ballpark, honestly.
Oh.
It's like as not good as Up.
Yeah, it's like just slightly high.
Like Up's first 10 minutes or 5 minutes, everyone talks about, but the rest of the
7
movie is fine. It's just fine. The rest of the movie, it's like with the weird dogs and the weird guy and the weirdness. It's fine
It's another Pixar movie that makes me cry, and I hate it.
for 5 minutes, and then after that, it's fine.
All right.
Yeah.
They knew how to turn the knife just right, though, with that first 10 minutes.
It's good. It's
They
good.
did.
It's good. I'm not saying it's not good.
All right. We're gonna try to speed up a little bit. Tenet came out this year, and Christopher Nolan is a very interesting person because he doubled down on crazy and thought people would break pandemic laws to see his action movies that make no sense.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry, I think that was kind of a fail for a lot of reasons.
I agree.
Like-
Full-on canary in the coal mine.
Yeah. It's like it was just no. It's
Hang
to the
on there
point.
for a couple of years. What's the problem?
Let it mature like a fine.
Holy
fine
smokes! What, is it not going to be good in 2 years on IMAX? Then why did you make it?
Yeah.
F off, hoser.
I mean, look, my favorite Chris Nolan movie has to be Prestige. And if you have not seen that movie, watch it. It is amazing.
I will say this: the best way you can tell someone what the Prestige is about. I know what the movie's about. I love introducing it with the whole fact that it's Batman and Wolverine fighting with magic, and David Bowie shows up to teach them about electricity. Like,
Are you sure it wasn't the Goblin King Jareth? Because there was still that vibe.
all right, next movie that did come out this year, Scoob.
Zoinks!
I'm a big Scooby-Doo fan, and the fact that I'm not a big fan of how other movies are trying to do the whole we have to make a shared cinematic universe with it. Scoob attempted that, but they also did it in a way that it wasn't super insistent, that they made it very clear, like, oh, Hanna-Barbera is its own universe. They're just doubling down on that, but they still kept it a Scooby-Doo movie at the end of the day, and that's what I was happy about.
Fair.
So, with Scoob in particular, Blue Falcon and Wondermutt have always been, or not Wondermutt,
Dynamite, yeah.
have been part of Scooby-Doo for decades.
Yeah.
That's
But
like adding Dumb. Is it Dumb Doo or Scooby Dum?
Scooby Dum.
It's like adding Scooby Dum. That's fine. They had Scrappy in the first movie. So
Yeah.
But
I think it's all fair.
But I do like that it's so they have Blue Falcon and Dynamite. They have Captain Caveman, one of my favorite characters. Also the fact that they gave it to Tracy Morgan, awesome.
That makes perfect sense to me.
Also low key introduced that Johnny Quest is part of the Scooby Doo universe. I thought was kind of cool.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So I personally think Scoob is a win. I don't know about you guys.
Oh, well, I'll watch it now. I wasn't gonna watch it. But just ringing
What I'm waiting is for the rivalry of Jabberjaw and his crew to come up into the next movie. That's what I'm looking for.
They're doing like a rival mystery. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I would be down.
I would. No.
Yogi Bear, why not also?
Okay, so so Bill and Ted Face the Music also came out this year.
I'm waiting for it to be reasonably priced. I hear great things.
Yeah.
It is. Oh, okay.
That's one of the only movies I saw this year.
But they did. It's without going incredibly in depth with spoilerificness.
You can spoil it if you want to. It's not going to ruin the movie for me. Yeah, I mean that's an experience movie, and I think I've already heard spoilers, so I'm fine with it. I knew what fight. I heard spoilers in the Fight Club. I like things for things. I don't really care. But yeah, go on.
I mean, when you see the parallel journey happen with the daughters, and then you're kind of seeing them kind of understand that they're the ones that have to take the steps back. It's kind of interesting to see them realizing that they kind of metaphorically have to pass the torch in terms of the way that the movie kind of lays itself out. And you start to see that about halfway through, but then it really like knocks you in the face towards the end with it.
And I think what's great about Alex Winters is just he's kind of just great always, and he was really enthusiastic to make it.
Yeah.
And Keanu Reeves is like enthusiastic to do anything. So it was like,
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Look, Keanu Reeves should play the shark in Jaws if possible, okay? Like,
All right, Kevin Smith.
but
So you
Like,
see
okay,
Black?
but then but then here's the worst part and the best part at the same time. The amount of times that Reddit has referred to Keanu Reeves as Samurai Jack.
oh my god.
Oh.
And you would want to see that movie in live action so bad.
I would want Lamar.
Yeah.
Wasn't he already in a samurai movie?
Yes, he was.
Oh man.
I think it was the
13 Ronin or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Last Samurai was Tom Cruise.
No, that was the Last Samurai. Was Tom Cruise?
No, it was 13 Ronin or something like that. Yeah.
I just want to see more Japanese actors in Japanese roles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man.
Please.
Cultural appropriation is bad. What?
It can be.
It can be.
Appropriation is bad, and then show and then.
Are so perfect that they encompass the entirety of the human race, going back to, the primordial soup. So he represents all of us in a way that no one else ever could.
It's true, I agree with that.
All right.
It's like when Nicolas Cage plays Fu Manchu. It's fine. Everyone's okay.
So Bill and Ted.
Ginger ale, and I'm still having an upset stomach from this.
All right. So Bill and Ted, I think we're gonna call as a win.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. And the last movie I have on this list is Mulan.
I did not.
So my
see
comment
that.
line is this. I love the animated movie. I love the soundtrack. And look, I'm a hardcore Disney fanboy. I'm aware of this. I can't stand what they're doing with The Lion King. They're making those stupid live-action movies. They shouldn't do that. Like, I remember in 1974 when I wasn't arguing with my stepsister, going to go see Lion King in the movies 24 times.
Right. Here's the thing about the Lion King live action movie. My reasoning for not liking it is it didn't offer anything new to the table.
Yeah.
It was about lying for 1.5.
I thought the Jungle Book actually legitimately.
Yeah, no, Jungle Book I thought was good.
Jungle Book I appreciated. Oh man.
Yeah.
But you know what? But they didn't keep doing that. They didn't do Aristocats. They didn't do like Robin Hood, because those are like some middle grade bullshit Disney movies that aren't good in the first place.
I like.
You think we're gonna get Song of the South as a live action remake?
Oh no. Oh.
Not great.
All right.
You're not going to put the Little Mermaid or Cinderella. I mean, come on.
Well, remember, we are going to get the Little Mermaid. They've already got Haley Berry.
No, the Little Mermaid live action is whatever. I don't know. It's going to be bad because it's bad. You know what I mean? Like, they're all bad because they're not.
They don't try. It's just
It's not a new thing. It's just, they're doing the same things again. Now, if they do something different with the Little Mermaid, great. I just don't think they're going to. So why would I bother?
I would bet if I was a gambling man, spoiler I am, I would put money on them not doing a damn thing with changing the story.
Yeah.
And Ursula is going to be modeled. Is not going to be modeled after the late great Divine.
I mean, they're probably not even going to make her a drag queen.
I thought they casted Ursula already. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
they have already released cast photos. I just don't remember who was Ursula.
Yeah.
So she's that good an actress? Holy shite.
Yeah, right.
So I think we're gonna call Mulan as a fail.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're not even gonna get into like the Chinese politics behind that. I'm not even touching that. All right. So this last movie that came out. All right. I know we said Mulan was the last one, but this one's a little bit different because it really wasn't more of a movie. It was more of a stage play that got released as a movie. But
Hamilton was brilliant. So I had the opportunity to go to see Hamilton in DC before the pandemic, and I actually liked the way that they did the version from the movie.
I just wanted to be in the room when it happened.
yeah, like I will say this. I, for years, was aware of the existence of Hamilton. And I only knew of 2 Hamilton songs. My Shot and You'll Be Back were the only 2 I knew about. Ever. And that's because they always randomly showed up in like random like AMVs I would find online. Or they would be mentioned at conventions. And the only reason why people really knew about Hamilton was because, oh, there's this play called Hamilton. Now everyone's in the know. Now everyone can appreciate what it is. The fact that it wasn't something they got... It was so weird being not a part of it, and now that everyone has seen it, and now that everyone's on it, and it didn't get oversaturated. It's oversaturated, but not in a bad way. and
It's
it
kind
be
of like how Wicked was back in the day.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
I consider it a win because this was one of those things where I was like, oh man,
100%.
I thought I was not gonna like Hamilton, and now I love Hamilton.
Like, so, like, there's a song in Hamilton that based on, because of something that happened earlier this year, there's a song in Hamilton that I cannot hear without starting crying like a child. And I know exactly what is going to happen. And my girlfriend who's watched Hamilton with me several times knows exactly when I'm going to start crying. And it's like, for me, it's a wonderful thing.
I'm not going to disagree with it, and I do know that there are a lot of moments that Hamilton will try to bring it out of you. They've condensed it down to a science where they're like, and lacrimal capacity is now. But
so I'm going to give you that. But when I saw it on Broadway, when I went to see it, I lived near DC for our dear listeners. When I went to see it in DC, when I got to that scene in the stage play, I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I really want
it is-
yeah.
I mean, I hate for us to just sit here and just nod and see, yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Hamilton doesn't feel like a 2020 thing, though. It just was made really available.
Yeah, that's why I kind of have it like as a side honorable mention. Like it's kind of like it really elevated into the pop culture zeitgeist for me.
I really think it starts a new trend of more stage production musicals that are being available.
Yeah, because before the only way you could see anything like that was you had to be in the know through Fandango.
Yeah.
And and at that time all you really got was like the one-off stage plays and anything from the Met Opera. That was it.
Yeah. So my background is in theater and like drama and musicals are like my wheelhouse of choice. My mother hated Hamilton because I would sing the entire show. I'm a terrible singer. I'm aware I'm a terrible singer.
But it's
My mother's
fun.
in the other room and she's like, "You are a terrible singer. You need to not sing." Ever.
Like,
And
the
it was
music
like-
is just so fun.
No, it's super fun. Like, I've gone to karaoke many a times with really good friends, and I'm the guy who will sing whatever with whoever, because I just love singing and making a fool out of myself.
Don't we all?
I will admit this one. It took me a long time to finally be willing to be an idiot on stage.
Partially my fault, I think.
Probably.
Anyway, so I think we can all agree Hamilton is a win nonetheless. And
Kind of weird.
and with that, we're good on movies, and I think we're going to enter the last leg of this race, which is video games. Okay?
Right.
So,
I'm gonna bow out for the evening for two reasons. One, I haven't played a new video game since 2 years now.
okay.
So, and I actually have I need to call my girlfriend before I go to bed. So I bid you all farewell and thank you all for having me.
Thank you very much, Nick. Pleasure to have you on here.
Nice meeting you. And have a great night.
Thank you. All right, so for video games, we have a few interesting ones on this list. I'm gonna go through a couple of them real fast, and then we'll go into like the crazier talking points of some of them. I'm gonna start off with the one that I felt was the most disappointing game of the year. In fact, I dare say the one game that I haven't. All right, first of all, I haven't had buyer's remorse for a video game since Superman for the N64. And that was Marvel's Avengers, which is so sad because this was a game that was made by Square Enix. Come on. They touted it as a role-playing game. It turned into a live services game. I was hoping for something similar along the lines of Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Like, I wanted something like that.
I actually picked up Marvel Alliance 3, and it was so jarring to go into that one with the amount of with the art style. There's like a level of cell shading and very, very cartoony, and I really missed what it looked like.
Yeah, that to me was so sad, and because of that, that was a fail. It was so much of a fail. It's so sad. I had so much hope for this game, and again, I have not had buyer's remorse for a video game in such a long time. Next,
Aaron, the Tony Stark in that game, I think, looks a lot like you, honestly. I don't know if you noticed this, especially when he's punished Tony Stark and he has the beard. I think he looks.
Oh my
so
god!
much like
Why'd you do that to me, Reed?
He's just missing the glasses. It's all he's missing.
It's kind of sad when Fortnite does a better Tony Stark.
Yeah, what the heck? What the heck?
There's no better Tony Stark than Aaron Pabone.
Oh, thank you.
And that game ended with Galactus, which I don't think is ever going to be as cool as what ended with whatever they did in that Avengers game. Would you play it if it were free to play with all the microtransactions? Would you be more okay with it?
No.
Okay.
That's the sad part. Like,
There you
even
go.
if the game was free, it's just it didn't offer too much, and the fact that they were slowing down the rollout of content is kind of sad for me.
Here's a side thing. If you want a game that's actually a good game but is free to play, Genshin Impact is actually really fun.
Yes.
But that gacha system sucks. I
Yeah.
think that came out.
Amongst friends, we refer to that as Breath of the Waifus.
It's cool. It's a cool little game, but I am not going to put money into it. I've seen what people have done. Like,
Yeah. No. That being said, Marvel's Avengers fail. Genshin Impact, I'll give that a soft win.
yeah, I think it's fine. I think it's going to get better.
Yeah.
I'm giving it a there currently. I'll wait to see what the rest of it looks like.
See, if you don't have a Switch and Wind Waker, then it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
It's actually I think it's like playing it as a game. I haven't played a lot of single player experiences that I've actually been in, and what's fun about it is the exploration doesn't punish you like World of Warcraft. If you go to the wrong spot, yeah, I see. I tried getting one before the pandemic, and guess what happened? They were also
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm a ride or die switcher, honestly.
I still have the Gen 1 Switch when it was like the early release version. So and it's still like living with me. Like I'm surprised it's still intact for how much I put through its paces.
Kickstand's not.
The kickstand is the only thing that's like falling off barely on there, right?
No, the kickstand has fallen off, and we just keep shoving it back on.
Yeah. So it's like 2020.
Yeah, we're gonna get one eventually, and then I'll play it, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, I mean, I already know I'm gonna like Breath of the Wild better because there's horse collecting, and I really want to. We already know it's better. I just don't have the option to play it right now. So, but Genshin Impact, if you don't got it, it's a good little play.
All right. So, Michael, you and I, other Michael. Sorry, there's two Michaels in the chat. I keep forgetting. So, Michael Phil. All right. Yeah. Both of us played Predator Hunting Grounds, and we were both disappointed.
Yes.
Yeah, because when I first heard that, we're getting Jake Busey, we're getting Busey in the game, we're getting Schwarzenegger in the game, and we're like, oh my god, this is gonna be a great game. And it plays like a PS2 game on a PS4 game, but not in a good way.
And well, that's usually, unless it's supposed to be a PS4 or PS2 game, it's usually bad design.
Yeah.
And that game was just, I mean, like, I like isometric competitive games on paper, but I don't think they can actually make them. I think the only good one was like the Jason game.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good.
Player is Jason Voorhees, and I think that was the last time those were interesting to me because that game, it feels like there's a bunch of ways to win, and one really cool way to win with Tommy Jarvis. And then with that Predator game, it was like, oh, you're either the Predator and have fun, or you're the Marines and don't have fun.
Yeah.
And you're usually the Marines and don't have fun.
So I'll put it as a fail. All right, we got Final Fantasy VII Remake. I think it was worth the wait.
My buddy loved it.
Yeah.
He's a big Final Fantasy VII guy.
Oh,
So.
absolutely.
Yeah, I think it was worth the wait. And the good thing is, it's not a hard one-for-one remake. They completely remade the game, and I think that was their best bet with it.
They had to.
Yeah. The Outer Worlds. I'm gonna keep Win on here for a while until it becomes something that is the fail, because a lot of these games actually that came out here were pretty good. That I'm talking about now, with the exception of Marvel's Avengers. The Outer Worlds. It was short, but the story was amazing, and the DLC helps add more to the game. I cannot wait for an Outer Worlds 2. It gives me hope that maybe they'll give Fallout 5 a better scope of chance, but I'm not holding my breath. Outer Worlds is going to be my Fallout replacement.
Fallout 76 has taught us anything is don't trust Bethesda anymore.
Right.
They're like EA. They're like one of those companies now. They all start someplace and they make you remember.
EA's done good.
All except Rare, because Sea of Thieves is actually dope.
Yeah. I will give an exception to the rule on EA this year, because EA this year released Star Wars Squadrons, and that is actually a really good game. I'm still actively playing it, and here's the thing: this is an EA game. You're wondering where did EA mess up? How are they going to get you? First of all, they sold it for like $39. And they said, we're not doing any DLC, we're not doing any extra content, we're just coming out with this game, and that's it. Game was really successful, and then they said, oh, wow, people actually like this game, we're going to keep it $39. Oh, here's extra ships. You didn't ask for extra ships, but here you go.
Yeah, those came out today, I believe. The TIE Defender and B-Wing.
Yeah, and, like, oh my god, like, I'm actually impressed with EA this year on that.
They need to do the same thing for Pod Racer.
I would
play would play a high
yes.
detailed Pod Racer.
I would love to do.
I would play a remake of the Pit Droid Simulator for DS.
All right.
How sad is it that the best thing everyone is remembering from episode 1 is still the Pod Racing N64 video game?
Well, that's like, hey, do you remember? It's like asking people like, oh, GoldenEye, that was a good movie. I was talking about the video game. What are you talking about?
Oh, the GoldenEye is a great video game.
Yeah.
It's a fine movie, I guess.
All right, so I'm gonna power through these games real quick because it is getting very late, and we're gonna have to call it soon. Last of Us Part 2, really good. That's an epic win. I don't think we need to go any further with that.
But I will say to the point of The Last of Us Part 2. I'm not saying it isn't a good game, but I think that there's quite a few people who agree that it is a little bit overblown for the amount of awards that it had won in the recent Video Game Awards show. Because there were a lot of other people who released spectacular games this year. And it just felt like it was a clean sweep that nobody even got half a moment's notice.
I will say that is a little bit of a problem, and
the Video Game Awards are just like the Oscars now.
Yeah, no, we made it, guys. We did it.
There we go. Hey, everyone wanted video games to be respected, so now just like there's an award show that sucks.
And I remember when Siskel and Ebert used to make fun of video games and said that video games weren't an art form to be respected, and then that was. I think it was the year after that the first Onimusha was released.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't know.
All right, powering through. Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima, right? That came out this year? Yes, it did. Ghost of Tsushima, visually beautiful.
It's pretty.
It's pretty. Yeah. So still a win nonetheless. Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time.
You know,
did we all forget that Crash Bandicoot was something we liked?
I never liked it.
Here's the thing.
Oh.
Here's the thing. My other half and I do have it. We have been playing it. It is pretty solid to its origins. But they included a couple of things that really do challenge you. And when you want to talk about razor-thin margins of error, that game has it. And if you want to play and be frustrated, but know that you're being frustrated, so it kind of ends up being halfway fun, you'll find it in Crash.
All right.
So it's like in the Meat Boy side of.
Very much so.
All right. Last couple of games. Fall Guys. That's a fun party game.
Fine until it wasn't cross-play and I couldn't play with my mother.
Oh.
If I can't play games where my mom is going to get mad and I can record it, I don't want to play it. My mom's real funny when she gets mad.
But what about like Among Us? There's still that.
Among Us came out like 5 years ago, though.
She's funny at that too. Yes, Among Us is great. Actually, Among Us is everything that Fall Guys is. Everything Among Us is
probably pulled us entirely through this pandemic. Which, also, side note, they did announce the new map during the Video Game Awards for an airship, so we're going to be seeing that in March.
All right. Watch Dogs Legion. I haven't played it yet. I have a lot of friends who are playing it and are liking it.
I played a bit of it, to be honest.
Yeah.
From what I've understood from the game, it's if you were a fan of like sort of the original Watch Dogs or Watch Dogs 2, it doesn't incorporate all the same sort of elements and things like that you may have like expected or enjoyed from the previous ones, but I still think it's a pretty solid game overall.
Yeah.
Like, if you're new to the series, I think it's a great point if you just like brand new and just want to play Watch Dogs for the first time, but people who may have played the other ones may not enjoy it as much.
I find that kind of interesting, like when they do that with games where they kind of just do its own thing with it. But, I mean, unfortunately I haven't played it yet, so I really can't give much of a solid take on it. Richard, what would you say? Is that a win there or fail?
I'd put it there just because, people who may have played the previous ones expecting it to be, sort of like the other ones, and then, people who may have be coming new to the series trying to play it for the first time would probably enjoy it, so 50-50, so I'd call it there.
All right. These next couple of games I'm going to keep on the there category. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. All right. I haven't played it yet. I have a lot of friends who are really big Zelda fans. They like it. It's good backstory for the current Switch game. But if you're not familiar with the fighting style of the game, it can throw you off. It kind of goes into that same problem of Watch Dogs Legion, where if you're new to the series, cool. If you're going back for something that was the same, it's going to be a little bit jarring and different. So I'm going to be like, in the middle of that. I haven't played it yet.
What I will say to that, there are 3 points that I would make. One, it follows the standard Dynasty Warriors genre to an extent, but with it being built in engine, that you do see a significant difference. You also see that versus the original Hyrule Warriors, they've condensed the cast so that way each individual character does feel a lot more varied, rather than having like 6 people with the same weapon. So you're gonna at least get more bang out of your buck for each character. The last thing that I would say to it is the map system is a lot more engrossing and a lot more involved, because they do get to reuse the world map from Breath of the Wild, and that it feels really interesting, like you're traveling to these different places to do things in the worldscape. So those are pluses.
Okay.
Jim Sterling liked it. He likes Dynasty Warriors games.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
All right. And the last there I'm going to keep on this list is Death Stranding. Okay, so I love Hideo Kojima and his works, and this is one of the first times and Hideo Kojima games you're always like, what the hell's going on? This was a game where I was really like, what the hell is going on? And then I remembered something. I never liked the Lord of the Rings books because of all the walking. And I love the movies because they kept it short and simple. So, this is a video game about walking with weird babies in tubes. So,
I think future Strand-type games will perfect the formula, though. Future Strand-type games. There'll be more.
He'll have a bison.
The genre.
Yeah. So, that's a solid there, I think.
I like Papers, Please and work simulators and stuff, and even I was like, okay, guys, I don't know.
All right. These are the last two wins for video games, and these are the last two last 2 video games, and then there's one more video game I'm gonna let you guys discuss for a minute because I haven't played it yet, but you guys were talking about it. But these next 2 wins, Spider-Man Miles Morales. It's a solid sequel. It's short, but then again, this is a Spider-Man game for the PlayStation 4/5, meaning we're gonna get some decent DLC like we did with the PS4 version for the original Spider-Man game. The characters are great. The designs are great. Also, Spider-Man has a kitten called the Amazing Spider-Man that attacks enemies. Awesome. I'm good. I love this already. And then Cyberpunk 2077. I am currently playing this game. I'm still in like maybe the first hour of the game, and I am hooked. I loved it. I still love it. Also, we've reached peak video game design for creating your character, my friends, because this is a game where you have to choose whether or not you want to have a hood or not. And yes, that's a euphemism. And it will open up dialogue trees and romance options that you would never get in Skyrim.
Absolutely.
Like
Just wait till Elder Scrolls 6, though.
Let's also be 100% fair. When you play in that mode, it's like you're storing an extra weapon slot.
Okay. All right. Oh, do you know they had to patch the game because it was sticking out through the pants, and they didn't know why?
Yeah, I had 2 people send me pictures through DMs.
When Twitter is not based some of the fun glitches. And, yeah.
All right.
I think they fixed it now, but I heard that regardless of what size of slider you use on the females, in cutscenes, the chest is always medium, unless the shirt's off. So they got lazy there, apparently.
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
So
I wonder
that's the last video game I have on this list on my end. But you guys brought up a game that I forgot about and I didn't know about, Hades.
Yeah. It's not really that much of a sleeper. It's got a lot of accolades, but not the game.
It does. Now, the reason that it got included this year was because it finally reached its 1.0 as well as being released on the Switch. So there's a little bit of a misnomer there. But honestly, very solid game, very tight controls. And it's really good at being bite-sized because if you just decide that you want to play one run, that's 30 to 40 minutes, and then you've reached a milestone. You can put it down and then come back to it later. So that's a really good thing for me because I need time budgeting.
I play a lot of these types of games, and there's not too many that do story because the issue with it is, well, actually, there's no reason not to do story. It turns out because Children of Morta last year is done. It does a really good story. I haven't finished it, but there's a lot to it. And then Hades is way better for story. Not only is the art style like one of the most amazing, interesting art styles for Greek characters in a while, but the characterization of all the gods is A+. Dionysus is not what I expected, and he's amazing. And his voice actor deserved a bunch of awards, and it didn't get any, apparently. Everyone in that game is great.
No, but the main character really did sell. That voice actor really sold.
He's really sarcastic without being like annoying. He's really like a Spike Spiegel type character, maybe, or I don't know. He's really good and has a snarky remark. I'm kind of shocked because these games are really repetitive, and you get like the same kind of upgrades over and over and over, and there's still more dialogue. So there's like dialogue trees if you get a boost from Zeus and then Athena, and Athena will comment that, oh, I see Zeus has helped you. Well, and that's little shit that you could put in all of these types of.
Well, I wouldn't want to say that it's the same power ups over and over and over, right? Because when you look at the combinations of the ways that the weapons plus the boons that you find later really kind of intersect with each other, especially when you start unlocking the other weapon styles. Then it starts getting really fun. I
didn't mean to say it in like a diminishing way. I mean, like, that gameplay loop is semi-repetitive, and it's broken up with, I mean, getting Dionysus boosts and versus like Athena versus Zeus versus whatever. I'm blanking on some of the other gods that you get. And then meeting the gods is fun, and giving them presents gets you presents, which is this whole other side thing. It's
when you hear people describe Hades, they sound like they're in a fever dream because the way these games typically go, it's like you play it kind of in zombie mode, trying to get higher and higher levels and unlock more and more weapons. Enter the Gungeon or Binding of Isaac and things like that. With this, you're weirdly also collecting things in a really satisfying Pokemon style, and people have interesting things to say, and the characters are all different. And it's an indie game. It's $25. It'll never be more than $25.
Yeah, and the strange part is there's a strangely satisfying like interior decorator mode.
Yes.
that I didn't expect myself to want to play it for that reason.
I fixate on that.
All right, I'm gonna unfortunately have to stop you guys right there. We are getting really close to end game here. My baby's in the room, and we're gonna have to put her down in just a hot minute and turn off the lights. So we're gonna end. We're gonna end with these last 3 speed items, and we're gonna group 2 of them together in the concept of video games. 2 video game systems came out this year. We had the PS5. There's 2 versions of that, and one's digital, one you can put physical medium in, and then the Xbox Series X or Xbox Series S. I'll be honest with you, I'm a PlayStation fan and a PlayStation person through and through. I have had no reason to ever buy an Xbox in the past couple of years, so I really can't put a valid opinion on that. Personally,
My PC.
Like it's an overglorified PC. However, I will say this: looking at the specs of the new Xbox game systems to come out, they built it like a PC. So I'm a little intrigued, and I want to see where they go with this. However, because it's the first year they came out, I always wait until like next year before I buy them.
Yeah. Yeah, PlayStation 5. Well, not that anyone has a choice on the PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
I think the comment on the PlayStation 5 is good luck on that.
Yeah. Also, PlayStation 5 is pretty big.
I just want a controller. As long as it still works like the other PlayStation 4 controller, where you can plug and play for PC and Mac. That's all I want it for. That controller is fire on PlayStation 4.
100% no lie. On Black Friday, we went to go over to GameStop, pick up a couple of things. We found out that the first 2 people in line had been waiting since Tuesday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just for a PS5.
Anyway, so I'll be honest with you, for both the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series S or X, they're there. They exist.
That anyone is playing them.
But I can't really play them because I can't get them. And, to be fair, I wouldn't get them right now. Like I said, I wait because, systems brick, things happen. I'd rather wait until there's also a good bundle pack when they go down in price the next holiday season. The only time I ever go backwards, head over heels over a game system is unless it's Nintendo. That says a lot.
Did you also buy a Wii U on launch day?
Anyway, all right.
I'm a Nintendo person. We did get the Wii U, maybe not opening day, but we picked it up the first month. It hurt. We know.
Yeah.
But we bounced back.
It wasn't no Virtual Boy, that's for sure.
I still consider Breath of the Wild to be a Wii U game and not a Switch game.
Anyway, while we're on the discussion of Nintendo, there is one last thing that I am adding on this list. This is kind of a sleeper gaming peripheral that came out this year. Forgot about that, but I forgot about that. The last thing, this was kind of a sleeper, kind of came out of nowhere, to honor the anniversary of Mario and Nintendo and the Game & Watch. They came out with a brand new Nintendo Game & Watch that has Super Mario 2: The Lost Levels, and one Game & Watch game. It's a $50 gimmicky item, but for what you get and for what it is, I think it's pretty cool. I consider it a win. I think it's a cool item to have if you can get your hands on one. It's still the perfect size of a Game & Watch. It's rechargeable too. So, that's the last thing I can really think about when it comes to video game peripherals that came out. There is the Switch Ring thing I saw.
Well,
That's
I know,
there,
Ryan,
and I'm
like,
afraid I'm going to break it if I get one.
around it. So let's clarify that we are talking about the Game and Watch with the Super Mario Brothers game stowed inside it, plus additional Game and Watch games. And it's funny enough because we do have it. I just don't want to go get it right now, but it was interesting because we didn't expect it to have all these little Easter eggs. Even when you turn it on and you're not playing it, it has an internal clock that you can actually see.
Oh yeah, that's right. They brought back the Game and Watch clock for it.
Around on terrain in the SMB1 format. So it's interesting to see when you're like fiddling around with it.
Yeah, people have already also hacked it, so you can put. People have hacked it to put Nintendo like NES games on there with no problem. So so if you're in the hacking community or the modding community and you want to get one of these to like play around with and have fun, cool. It's a really cool peripheral.
This.
Nintendo loves when you do that.
Yeah, they totally do. Anyway, so that being said, that is the last item on this list for pop culture items for the year 2020. 2021 is going to be a very interesting year. I can't wait to do this again. We had hiccups on this stream, but I personally think the stream was successful nonetheless. I know there's a lot we're going to want to review next year, a lot of things I'm looking forward to next year. Too much to list, but we'll list them next year. If we get to do this as a panel in real life, awesome. I want to thank everyone who was available to come on this stream. Michael, Phil, Heather, Brian, Reed, Richard is still here. Like I have a monitor hidden in the back. Ben was here earlier. Nick was here earlier. Thank you all for coming by for this stream. My wife, my lovely wife in the corner, who is currently trying to put our newborn away. Maggie's still awake?
She is.
You know what? Let's end it on a positive. Can we end it on a positive note?
You want her over there?
It's my birthday. Come on.
Let's go see Daddy.
Alright, okay, here we go. Hello, Internet. This is Maggie. Maggie, this is the Internet. You can't use it until you're 12. Okay, so we're going to put her down now. But this was Review of the Year 2020 at Home Edition. All of you on the stream, thank you so much for coming in and being a part of this. Great to talk to you guys. Happy New Year. And in case... see you next year at cons to do this again. Thank you nonetheless. Awesome. I owe everyone here a beer, a beverage of some kind, or some kind of stuff. Something to use. Yes. No, low-key. We're being low-key on that. Thank you. All right.
My fingers just did that for some reason.
You're petting the pet in the background. Okay. All right. Thank you guys.